like that. And once again, I had a lot of viewers like, yeah, that's probably true. And I'm thinking like, you do realize you realize there's a whole lot of areas in America where black people don't even live, and they actually were believing it.
And when you showed them, they said, well, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
What's the big deal? Like, somebody reading this who just reads what he puts out and believes him are still walking around to this day who have not heard you call it out and believe that 85% of white people get killed by black people.
Yeah. I would, like I said, if I'm somebody white and I don't have any friends or black friends or associates, that would really make me hate black people and be really either frightful of them or angry at them. Because if I believe the president, I mean, he was running for president at the time he tweeted that out. If I believe Trump, I mean, he literally he's trying to advise me that one of my greatest dangers as a white person is black people.
Mm-hmm. And the black person that's got his pants down by his ankles.
Yeah.
Has got the gun turned sideways, and it's something off of a TV show that they seen.
I may have to play because I'm sure I got a lot of MAGA watching me right now that doesn't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, for Trump to go on there and say that, and because a lot of them think when you point out things about Trump, it's coming from CNN or MSNBC. And anytime I bring up clips about Trump, it's usually me presenting Trump on screen saying it himself, which is what this one pertained to as well. It wasn't, it was him and Bill O'Reilly talking about it, and I mean, O'Reilly was even like, damn, But speaking of O'Reilly, I want to, before I move it on from you, we got a few more minutes here. I want you to hear this because, Trump is talking about, he's still making it clear the economy is not doing as bad as people are saying and things like that. Now, his friend of 30 years, I always love getting Bill O'Reilly clips. This is O'Reilly, and I think this is posted today.
Americans, according to a Wall Street Journal poll, have lost faith that hard work leads to success in this country. 1,527 adults in the poll. It's a fair demographic breakdown. First question. The way things are in America, people like you and your family have a good chance of improving your standard of living. Do you agree or disagree? Strongly somewhat agree, 25%, low number. Neither agree nor disagree. It means they can't understand a question, 32. Somewhat strongly disagree, 42. So 42% of the people say, look, no matter how hard we work, we're not going to improve. Tough. Second question, which of the best describes your personal financial situation? Comfortable with no major worries, 29%. Adequate, getting by, but not much else, 43. Stressed, can barely afford the basics, 19. Falling behind, can't keep up, 9. Okay, next question. Thinking about your financial situation, how confident are you that you could buy a home if you wanted to? Extremely very confident, 23. Somewhat confident, 20. That's 43% of Americans believe a home is within reach. 56 say can't get the home. Big number. Next question, thinking about your financial situation, how confident are you? You have enough savings for your retirement. Extremely very confident, 20. Somewhat, 28. Not very, not confident at all, 52. Final question. You think the American dream, that if you work hard, you'll get ahead, still holds true? 31% say yes. Never held true, 23%. Once held true, but not anymore, 46. Now that poll is bad news for Donald Trump because it reflects on political, non-political people giving up hope somewhat. And what Trump is trying to do is return prosperity, make it easier for people to get a home, a car, a comfortable life, and by changing the way this country does business. That will take time. Okay? These tariffs and all that will take time to drive down oil prices, food prices, all of that. Americans are impatient. They are giving up. So if things don't improve, I'd say within the next 6 months, midterms going to be tough.
What do you think? I mean, because Trump is saying the economy is doing very well right now. Somebody said, hold on, somebody says Democrat propaganda failed. What are you saying, Bill O'Reilly is a Democrat? Oh my God. Bill O'Reilly's a liberal now. Okay. But what do you think?
There is nothing you can play outside of Trump. out on the White House lawn telling you what's going on that they will believe. They're like, none of it.
Well, speaking of that, before you continue, him on the White House lawn telling you what's going on.
Going to reduce energy and electricity prices. I will, by at least half within a 12-month period. We'll be able to reduce prices between regulation and having a tremendous supply, which we have. I always say we have more liquid gold under our feet, more than any other nation anywhere in the world, including Saudi Arabia and including Russia. We're going to terminate the Green New Scam. It's called the Green New Deal. It's a scam. And rescind all unspent funds. We're going to rescind that and pay off debt. And we're going to reduce debt. We took almost $10 trillion.
In this clip, he says from January of this year, January 2025, from the time he gets in, he's going to reduce the cost of energy in America for Americans by 50% by January of next year. So we're talking about 3 months from now, energy prices in America, your light bill and things like that, should be half of what they were when he took the Oval Office. That's what he stated. We're going to reduce it by half. Now, I'm bringing this up because he's already made some promises that have not come true. Do you think this one is going to come true?
Hell no. You don't want to reduce energy prices by half at all. Like, nobody's going to do that. See, he came in and he did contrary to what he said he was going to do. What he did was he came in and he begged fucking Saudi Arabia to increase production to lower the prices to make him look good. But when they lowered the prices, it prevented American companies from drilling to their full potential because the barrel of oil is so fucking low. But people have no fucking idea how this shit works, and they just believe. He gets up there and rattles off bullshit. He talking about drugs are now 1,500% lower than they were, when everybody knows 100% is break even, is free. Yeah. It just says random shit. And them people on that other live that's talking about, oh, you guys are lying, you don't know what you're talking about. I would like to know where they got their education from, because it doesn't sound like they know what the hell's going on.
I don't know where they got the education from, but I think it's kind of what you're saying is that if Trump says it's going to happen, he just believe it. Like, for instance, I mentioned the drug boat in Venezuela, or the alleged drug boat. He don't have to prove that was a drug boat. If he says I killed a bunch of just like what killed Abrego Garcia did. Anybody question whether what he said about that guy was legit or not? I mean, he put the guy on TV, said he was MS-13. Or if he says it, they're going to believe it. So if he say he can reduce fuel prices or energy prices by half by January, they don't question it. I mean, even I fell victim to it when he said he was going to end the war in 24 hours. I was like, maybe not 24 hours, but I believe he could do it pretty damn quick. So, I mean, he has the benefit, unlike Kamala or Biden or any of the other folks that tried to primary him on the right, he has the benefit of just being able to say something and people take it at face value.
Well, that's one thing. Like, I can understand people having belief in him. But once that promise is unfulfilled, or his lie didn't work out, then what? He's
playing chess. That's what happens. If he says I'm going to do something by next Friday and he don't get it done by next Friday, it goes from it's like I said. I said this before, and some people didn't like when I said this, but I said Trump has a lot in common with how we view God. Whereas no matter what we ask God for, if he gives it to us, we're thankful we got it. If he doesn't give it to us, we believe that there is a legitimate reason why he ain't giving it to us right now. But if you hold on, God is always going to come through and do what's right. That's how a lot of his supporters view him. If he gives you what you want, 24 hours, he's going to end the war, okay with the war, but he's playing chess. He's doing something else behind the scenes that's working on our behalf. They say God don't come when you want him, he comes right on time. That's how they viewing it. Just like that.
So what exactly is he doing in Venezuela then? What exactly has he said he's doing as opposed to what he's doing? I just want to get a different perspective. Like,
he's preventing,
he's stopping drugs.
Yes.
That's what he's doing.
Yes.
So he's blowing boats up in international waters, is going to somehow stop drugs. I'm talking about on a little bitty ass dinghy that he says was going to travel 3,000 nautical miles. That boat, in order for it to get to from where it was at to
It was never going to
closest
happen.
point,
Yeah.
it was never. They were never going to. With 11 people on a boat, which obviously, if you don't understand
I will
how
cut
they
the
move
price of
large amounts, if you minimize the amount of people and you increase the amount of product you can put on the boat.
But
So
see,
all the
yeah, I agree with all that. But see, in the comments, somebody, who is that? Commando, great movie from the 80s. Commando says TDA was on the boat, Trinidad Agua. So once he deemed Trinidad Agua as a terrorist group, you can pretty much blow anybody up and just say it was TDA.
Exactly. But he destroyed any evidence that would have been there for him to at least show us a package or something just to blow people up and say, hey, them Nuremberg 2.0 is gonna be deadly.
But he is President Trump. He doesn't have to show you proof. Like I said, if he says it, that's good enough.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Pete Hegseth. I'm talking about the people that were in the aircraft that shot. All of those people are going to have to account for what they did. Not right now while Trump is in office. Now he's talking about he's going to shoot down planes in international waters if they fly around.
Let me ask you that. Now you brought up a good point. You say people are going to have to be held accountable. I'm thinking of A Few Good Men, Demi Moore, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson. I'm sure you've seen the movie.
You're damn right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. So once Trump is gone, because they asked the two guys that Jack Nicholson ordered to perform the code red, which caused this kid his life. They were held accountable because they took from Jack Nicholson an order they knew to be unlawful, causing that they got discharged or whatever. What I'm asking you is, are you saying that if Trump says take this boat out, that if Hegseth orders Americans to take this boat out, that Hegseth and the Americans who fired the missile could be held accountable for that?
Well, there's a lot of variables in that. If he doesn't tell them who they are, then they would have plausible deniability. But Pete Hegseth knows that it's against international law. So Pete might be held responsible, but not necessarily. It depends how far down, because I'm sure there were other levels underneath Pete. He didn't just tell the pilot, hey, get in the plane. He talked to the generals talked to their commanders, the commanders talked to their people. So there's layers to it. But yeah, there's some responsibility in those layers.
Yeah, because the argument you're presenting, and I presented it on a show yesterday, is that everybody knows logistically this boat is not capable of what they're suggesting, which is delivering drugs to the USA. Now, if Trinidad Agua is moving drugs from, let's say, Venezuela to Colombia, do we have the authority in international water to blow them up? I mean, America's not part of the equation at all. If they're moving drugs from one Latin country to another one, which is more likely the capability of that vessel as opposed to coming 1,700 rounds to America, do we have the authority to just blow up any movements they're making in that part of the world?
No, they don't. This would go to criminal courts. In America, military criminal courts, you gotta have evidence. You can't just, we know what happened with Obama. He ended up, blowing up people who were American citizens, but they were deemed enemy combatants. So that allowed them to be taken out. But we know who the guy was, so we knew he was an enemy combatant. Right. You can't just blow up 11 people in a boat and just be like, yeah, they was, you know what I'm saying? Right. They was all just gang members. Because what I know as a person, many drug interdiction ops down south, the actual gang members don't do the transporting. They hire fishermen and people with these boats, and they force them to make these trips. Trinidad Agua didn't put 11 people on a damn dinghy to travel 3,000 miles to deliver a couple of bags. That's not how it works.
I mean, when you really explain it like that, it does get to be funny that, yeah, they would put mules or something like that. Yeah, they're not going to put 11 of their guys on a boat like that. I mean,
to go all the way to damn Florida for what?
yeah.
I mean, obviously, with the amount, they would have had to have, I seen a guy break it down, they would have had to have around 600 gallons of fuel on that boat to get them from where they was at. Which means there's no way you got 600 pounds of fuel or more. I'm not.
It's
sure
more. Actually,
gallons.
it's more because I did for that show. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I actually, that boat has I had the range and everything down. The range of that boat is like 600 miles at best, 600 knots rather, or miles under optimal conditions. It burns between a mile. It burns between, I think it was for 1 gallon of fuel, you can get 1 to 2 knots of travel out of it. But it did not have anywhere near the specifications to come close to reaching the United States. It was just unfeasible. It was just no way that little boat, certainly if you're going to load it down with drugs and 11 male figures, it just could not come close to reaching the U.S. mainland. I wish I had the notes, because I had took down notes for the capabilities of that boat, but there's no way it was going to come anywhere near American mainland.
Especially if their goal was to transport, dope. Like,
Right.
it just doesn't make any sense. But the people, MAGA listening, will not listen to any common sense. They will say they was Trinidad, so therefore they deserve to be blown up. And that's just not how international criminal courts work in The Hague and other places. You can't just say, well, my boss told me that they were some enemy combatants, and you can't prove that. There's rules of engagement.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things.
And what really makes it crazy is they could have easily stopped these guys. I mean, they could have easily literally shot out the engine of that boat and left that boat floating aimlessly at sea and easily pulled up on it and got all the evidence they wanted. They literally wanted to murder those guys. I mean, they chose the worst option.
Yeah, we do it all of the time. I've been a part of those operations. I've gone over in the small boat. We've arrested them. Some of them we have to turn back over to the host country or whatever the dynamics are of the people that's in the boat. Because like I said, some of them aren't even from the country. They just been strong-armed and told, look, we'll kill your whole family if you don't cooperate.
Wow.
We need your boat. We need you to go over here and, we need you to be a mule for us. So I understand this stuff. We catch people every day is people out there in the military and Coast Guard catching these people. But the problem I have is these motherfuckers are bringing the shit through goddamn shipping containers through ports of entry.
Yeah.
That little bitty ass boat ain't gonna stop nobody in your neighborhood from getting high.
No,
so
it's
to
not.
think that that's a deterrent.
But it would have felt a little bit more legit if they had caught it off the coast of Cuba somewhere 80 or 90 miles from America. But to do that, 1,700 miles away and say, well, they were coming to America, it just makes the story look, it just doesn't look plausible at all.
Yeah, we've surrounded a country that doesn't have a very large footprint as far as imported drugs into America. Do they produce some? Yeah, I'm sure they do. But that ain't the place you want to be if you want to stop drugs from coming into America. Now, we got a whole battle group over there around goddamn Venezuela. They just so happen to have one of the world's largest oil reserves, and we know how Trump is about the oil. Yeah. He wants to get the dictator out of there. Like, if you can't kind of see what he's doing.
Yeah, I think it's clear as day. I'll go into it, but I do got to move it on. But what you're saying, I think, is the exact reason why we're there. Cal, appreciate you coming in here.
All right, take it easy.
Now, real quick, thank you. What he is saying is that, just like we've been saying on the show, if you really want to stop crime in, major cities in America, you would start with the most violent city. Chicago is not where you would start if stopping crime was your biggest concern. Same thing with Venezuela. If you wanted to stop drugs coming into America, let's just be clear. Before Trump came along the scene, I mean, we've been watching drug movies ever since Scarface and Blow and American Me, or whatever the one Tom Cruise was in, America, whatever. I mean, there's so many drug movies. You know, there's the New Jack Cities and all. Have you ever heard somebody talking about Venezuela? I mean, out of all of the Nicaragua and Colombia and Peru and the cartel in Mexico, where did Venezuela become the spot you would start at if you were trying to eliminate crime in America? I mean, I don't care if you're watching documentaries on the History Channel or, you know, Nat Geo does some of those specials. When did Venezuela become known as the hotspot? Only since Trump came on the scene. How did Venezuela get elevated to number one? That is not where most of our shit comes from. So, yeah, the idea that you're trying to stop drugs and you're going to start with Venezuela makes no sense. I do believe what my last caller stated is more likely accurate, is that they have a leader that we do not like and a bunch of oil that we really do like. And the goal is probably to get rid of, I think his name is Maduro, whatever his name is there, probably just like we got rid of the leader of Afghanistan and put in Hamid Karzai or whatever. The goal is probably regime change, to put in somebody that's going to be friendly to America and kind of help us get our hands on their oil. Same thing when Trump was talking about taking over Greenland. It's kind of the same thing, Panama Canal. I mean, Trump has come in there as kind of a guy who's seeking resources. Same thing, he wanted, you know, access to the rare earth minerals from Ukraine. I mean, he's going after these countries' items of value. I mean, he's only been in what, 8 months? And he's talked about, we know that there is items of value or resources or whatever you want to call it in Greenland. They have them in, obviously, the Panama Canal. He talked about taking that. Obviously, he wanted the minerals of Ukraine, and that's likely what's going to happen here in Venezuela. And of course, you may have remembered back in the day, he talked about with Iraq, he would have taken the oil. So I think that's more or less where we're looking at. It ain't about reducing the issue of drugs coming in. It's about getting your hands on those minerals or on the oil there. Here's a fact for you. Your delivery carrier is the most popular way drugs are sent. Really? More than any boats or underground tunnels? You mean like FedEx? That's the most popular way people are getting drugs? You talking about, like, is that what you're talking about? Like DHL and I'm assuming you're not talking about Amazon, are you? I've never heard that. Wow. They want the Venezuelan women too. Debo, I don't know. I can't speak on that. I don't know if they want the Venezuelan women, but I definitely believe there's more at play than just simply going after the reduction of drugs. Just like I'll tell you this, Trump is transactional. I'll go to the box shortly. Tap the screen, get us on up to 25,000. Feel free to share the live if you will. Trump is a transactional guy. If you do for Trump, if you're loyal to Trump, if you look out for Trump, Trump will look out for you. If you're critical of Trump, you speak negatively of Trump, or you attack Trump, he will in turn attack you. Based on that fact, and I think it's hard to deny that, based on that fact, it would be hard to believe that if Trump wanted to make an American city crime-free, he would start with Chicago. The people of Chicago don't like Trump, and Trump don't like the people of Chicago. The people of Illinois don't like Trump, and Trump don't like the people of Illinois. He don't like the politicians. Why would you start there? I mean, if the goal is to reduce crime and you're known for doing things for people that are going to do for you, you're going to start in a place like Memphis or St. Louis because the governor there is going to give you all sorts of praise. That state likes you. You're not going to go to a state that hates you and then all of a sudden fix that city up and make it crime free. You're going to start out in areas that like you. That's how Trump works. So when he starts talking about, I'm going to go to an area where everybody hates me and I'm going to lower crime in that area, it ain't about lowering crime. It's about saying a big fuck you to the people that's in that area. Venezuela had the most beautiful women in the world at one time. Wow. Now they are all in places like Spain, Portugal, Chile, Brazil, US, and Canada. Okay. Did not know that. Shout out to Venezuela. Let me go back to the box. Why spend more money on bullets when they can just drop one? Really? You're going to say, why spend more money on bullets to stop that boat when they could just drop it? Do you realize how much that missile cost? They actually gave the price of it. I don't recall what it was, but it was tens of thousands of dollars. When they're firing stuff like that, stuff ain't cheap. Tens of thousands of dollars to fire. To take out that boat cost tens of thousands of dollars. No, you would definitely have saved a tremendous amount of money by flying alongside that boat in a Black Hawk helicopter and popping out a few rounds from a 50 caliber through the front of it and disabling the engine. That would have saved you a ton of money. Not to mention you could have got your hands on the product or any, they may have had valuable intel where they could have snitched. They could have
20th to take office on January 20th. Your electric bill on January 20th.
They could have had valuable information to snitch on others and all kinds of stuff. Just murdering them presents nothing of value. So I definitely believe that's what it was. New Hampshire in blood said. New Hampshire red blood said he was setting the tone. That's more like what was happening. I'm letting you know if I don't like you, we'll kill you. That's what he was doing. That is exactly what he was doing. He's setting the tone, letting them know that we'll murder you if you do something we don't like. Continuing on with the program, young Bryce. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Engine is on the back of the boat, Tim. Okay, back of the boat, wherever it's at. Wherever it's at. Disable the damn boat by taking out the outboard engines or wherever they at. That would have been a lot easier to do. In fact, if you're just flying alongside them with a 50 caliber hanging off the side of a helicopter, firing rounds into the water in front of them, that's often enough for them to stop to begin with. Because they know this guy can hit us whenever we want. Whenever he wants, he can hit us. They usually just fire a few streams in front of the boat, and that's enough for them to realize that you either gonna stop or we're gonna make you stop. And you gotta hope that we're accurate enough to hit the damn engine. So you either stop or you let us take a chance on hitting your engine and hope we don't hit some of you. That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do. Young, what does that say there? Are you there, sir? Young Bryce. Okay, apparently that individual's not there. We're moving on. No reply. Your ancestors were so black that they were born with low credit scores. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. That ain't racist at all. All right, taking out one engine is regular protocol for smuggling. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You either can take out the engine or you can fire. I've seen them also where they fire rounds in front of the vessel. And this was at night, I think. So, in a case like that, maybe different. A big spotlight or something like that too. I mean, if you're in a helicopter, a big spotlight to let them, because once you know a military is on you, you're not getting away from that. You're out in open waters and somebody's hovering over you with a big ass spotlight. You're not getting away from that. They're about to catch you. You know what I mean? So you can either start dumping shit overboard, but you're not getting away. You and that vessel are not about to get away. Continuing on, I see a few folks like, engine is not in front of the boat. Okay, I get it. The outboard engine is in the back. Why spend more? And let me go back to the box. We use night vision on the helos. Yeah. They didn't have to die is the point I'm making. There was no reason to immediately murder them. Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program.
What's up, man?
Not much at all, man. We got into the vessel there, but we also wanted to talk about and this story is making the rounds. This guy on the, what is it called? He's on a commuter train, ended up murdering this Ukrainian refugee, and is making the rounds all over right-wing media because this guy has a very lengthy rap sheet, many arrests, and of course she equates to a pretty white girl. Have you heard about this story?
Yeah, I heard about it. It's a tragic story. I read that he has some mental health issues.
Yeah.
That's what I read. But first of all, well, no, we can talk about this and get back to that stupid shit you said earlier. I'm gonna get back to that too. I ain't gonna forget that shit.
What did I say that was stupid? I'm going to want to know that.
You were giving an analogy where you were trying to equate to Trump's followers. You said Trump is in God.
Yeah. I stand by that. Okay, we'll go to this. We'll get to that because I stand by it. I can go with you 10 toes down in there. But give me what's your take on this?
Well, my take on this is just tragic, like anything else. And what I read is that he has some mental health issues. I'd like to hear more about his background, but what they talk about is his lengthy criminal record, and
right.
I'm not going to dispute that. But this is what they do on right wing. Again, I will ask the same question. Give me an update on Travis Decker.
Now he's the one that killed his family or something, is he not?
Yes, that's the white man, the former Army Ranger that killed all three of his daughters.
Ain't even getting mentioned.
Yeah, there's still no, and this is my problem with this, Tim. What they want to demonize. If he were white, they would not have it on
The story, yeah, but that ain't just coming from the right or white people. It's the same thing if Kyle Rittenhouse was white, if George Zimmerman was black. If Kyle Rittenhouse was black, if George Zimmerman was black and he took out a black Trayvon Martin, the left wouldn't do anything about it either. They wouldn't say much about that.
That's not true, Tim.
You really
That's
think?
not true.
You really think You really think if George Zimmerman was a black resident of that complex and he went chasing Trayvon Martin off into the middle of the night and they ended up killing one or the other, you really think Al Sharpton and all them would have showed up?
Well, would Al Sharpton and him have showed up? No.
Right.
But would there have been outrage behind it? Yes.
If you probably would not have heard of that story outside of that area.
No, I disagree, and I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. No. Because it was a teen. It would have been a grown man. Who Tim? You got to use all the context.
Give me what you got.
It would have been a grown man that called that called 911 and reported it. Just like you said, just change him to black. Matter of fact, George Zimmerman's ass would have been locked up.
I believe that. Now I believe that.
So look at it for what it is, Tim. We would have known about it because the call to 911 would have been released, and therefore we would have known the story.
I don't think so. I don't think it would have made national news. I really don't think it would have made national news.
Oh, I do. Only because of the things that I just said. All I did was just replace the person, but all of the facts would have been the same. So we would have been exposed to it just by default because they would have released the 911 audio.
Yeah, I did. Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is another one. If they were both the same race, I don't think that story would have got much attention. I mean,
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I agree with you there because it would have been considered black on black crime. And here's the thing. They don't really give a fuck, but they act like they give a fuck. But they only care to fit their narrative, right? I mean, Donald Trump and his administration and MAGA are so hypocritical because they only care about it because he said it. They don't care about it because it's a problem. They don't care about it because they always say Chicago, D.C., but they never talk about white on white crime. They never talk about that man on your screen back there.
Yeah, I'm about to hear it because I know some of the story, they say bones found during FBI search for triple murder suspect Travis Decker. So they're saying they found some bones. This is 10 days ago, but it is not getting covered in the national news hardly at all.
And do you know how they confirmed that it was him that unalived his daughters?
No.
They found fingerprints on the bags that he put over their heads.
Ooh.
They found his fingerprints he put 2 bags over each one of his daughters' heads.
Yeah.
And suffocated all 3 of them. And that's how they found his fingerprints. But they're not talking about it. Instead, they flash because that's the narrative behind you. Because that's the thing that gets them going. You see, this is why we have to shut down these cities. But they don't talk about the things that are really driving crime in this country. And I'm not saying that the crime in Chicago, D.C., any major city isn't an issue, because any crime should be an issue. But if we're talking about and we're focusing on crime, don't you want to start picking off the things that are really pertinent to these communities? But they only talk about one type of crime, where black or brown are assaulting or hurting white folks. And when they talk about black on black crime, it's to get to their narrative. That's the only time they talk about it.
13%, you know what they say, 13% of the population, 50% of the inmates.
Right, which is crazy as fuck, because when you look at the numbers, that's not even true. But think about this, Tim. When you go into these conservative spaces and they go 1350, I want you to ask yourself something, because they're saying that's 48 million or some odd black Americans, right?
Okay.
That's all of them. So they're saying out of that 48 million, because they're using the entire 13%. So they got to be talking about toddlers. They got to be talking about second graders, third graders. You know what I'm saying? They got to be talking about the elderly when they talk about these numbers. That's how ridiculous it is, because they don't look at what the real stats are, because it's about their narrative, Tim.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
about
I
their
mean,
narrative.
yeah, the thing about it is, I think when they're saying 50%, they're talking about in areas where black people live. Because I see somebody in the comments even said 50% of the violence. I mean, there's just way too many areas, damn near whole states where black people are barely even present. So there's no way they could be 50% of the amount of folks that are incarcerated, or even 50% of the violence, because there's just too many places they're not. You think blacks are committing 50% of the violence in Idaho? You know, or 50% of the violence in Montana. So yeah, go ahead.
Right. It's not happening. But to your point, I didn't mean to cut you off, too. But to your point, that's what I'm saying. These are narratives to drive their agenda, so there's no emotion behind what happens. Just like the boat, there's no emotion behind losing. And let's be clear. I'm using unalive for the sake of this live. They intentionally unalived 11 people, and you have heard people on this app just go, well, you know, it's crime, it's criminals, so doesn't matter. They've been working to demonize these communities ever since he came down the escalator, and it's not stopping. That's why that picture and that article is up behind you. But I bet you they're not going to lean on mental illness with that. I guarantee you they don't lean on mental illness with that. They're going to lean on his past criminal record.
MAGA is all over social media. They want this guy executed. They've already said it. They want this guy executed. And you're right, he is clearly mentally ill. In fact, the last time he got out of prison, the last time he got away from a judge, because they're suggesting the judge should resign or the judge should be held accountable, he was actually charged with a misdemeanor. He had called 911 for something that he should not have called 911 for. And that's that's the black judge that they're saying that let him go and he should have went to prison. It was a misdemeanor. He wasn't before her. So there are judges that let this guy slip through the cracks, but it ain't the last one he was before that they were going after this African-American woman that they're calling DEI or whatever. He was before her with a misdemeanor. She wasn't going to give him double-digit years in prison for that.
And you know what's so crazy? And I see Miss Mobetta. Hey, Miss Mobetta, that's my boo. Said that his mom said he is schizophrenic. Yeah. Now, we all know in this country, when there was a bill to address mental health put on the floor of the Congress, and you know who voted it down, Tim?
The Republican Party. Yeah.
The Republican Party shot it down. So we know that there's a mental health crisis, but they only want to use it for their narrative when it comes to trans, or when it comes to if there's a pew at the school, that particular pewer must have a mental illness, right? They don't listen to any of this, and you get people like Johnny and Steve in the comments making asinine comments, but they don't read, they don't do any research. All they do is fall on their racist ideologies to push their narrative. Because again, if that judge should go to prison for letting this guy out, then Donald Trump should be in prison for letting J6ers out that got released and turned around and committed crimes. And one of the J6ers actually unalived somebody, if I'm not mistaken, and one of them was unalived by a police officer. So, and another one of them SA'd a child and had to. So what are we talking about here? But that's the problem about the narrative. They want to spin the narrative to meet this radical right agenda. That is really, it is terrible the way it's unfolding, because we know what they're going to do with that story. We'll be seeing that story forever. But again, ask somebody next time. Ask them about Travis Decker. I got a few more names of these cases where
I don't think I'm going after our conversation. I got a 2-minute clip on it, because I don't think most people even know about Travis Decker. I mean, like you said, it's covered so little that I don't think most people even know about it. I mean, there are some stories that in the news that are racial. Like, everybody knows who John Benet Ramsey is, or Natalie Holloway. You know about white girls that come up missing. Name one black person that came up missing, and they come up missing all the time. Name one of them that made national attention. They're all over the wall at Walmart. So there are plenty of, and same thing with the Native Americans. They come up missing all the time. We don't even cover it. But if a young pretty white girl comes up missing, it makes national news.
Matter of fact, not only does it make national news, when white folks come up missing, we create laws. You got Megan's Law, you got Amber Alert, right?
We almost had the George Floyd law, though.
Well, yeah, we almost. But check this out, Tim. They have to come up, if people aren't going to believe me, all you got to do is Google it. They have to come up with different colored alerts. There's an ebony alert. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
You mean like for Amber Alert?
Yeah, ebony alert. Yep.
So they actually give you an alert to tell you if it's a black person missing versus a white one?
Google it.
An ebony alert? Oh my God.
Type ebony alert, Tim. It's, you know, and again, there's different now. Why do we need a separate alert, Tim?
Your ass ain't important. Oh shit, that's an ebony. Give me some more donuts. We don't have to leave yet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Across that digital screen on the freeway, motherfuckers ain't gonna put their head up or pay attention.
I've never now AI, but listen to it, because this is something we may be able to blame on the liberals, because the AI says an ebony alert is a California statewide notification system defined.
Yes.
Okay, so it's happening only in California, first of all. Designed to find missing black youth and young women ages 12 to 25, created to address the disproportionate number of black individuals in missing persons reports. It serves as a specialized version of the Amber Alert system, notifying the public through highway signs, radio, television, and social media. The system was implemented in 2024 and allows California Highway Patrol to issue alerts when a black person within a specific age range is missing under suspicious or dangerous circumstances. Folks are going to say that's racist towards white people because it's an ebony alert.
But again, there's an ebony, which the only reason you would have an ebony alert, even alter ego. So you say California next time. Here's my whole point. Look up stats on how minorities that are missing are disproportionately not addressed.
I don't think you need to. That's why I mentioned Natalie Holloway and JonBenet Ramsey and all them. You don't know about it. You don't even hear about them.
You don't even hear about it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you look at the numbers of the people that are human trafficked, it's disproportionately minorities. So because people know, criminals know, that this country doesn't focus or care so much about minorities that way. And it's not even, listen, if people are hearing what I'm saying, and I always get called racist, and I don't really care because
you and I are getting called racist on this shit. Anytime you bring up what happened to black people, you're considered. They call Martin Luther King a racist. Of course, you're getting called racist right now.
Yeah, and I don't give a fuck because I know what I'm speaking about. But the whole point is, just like the Constitution, amendments were put in place because the original laws in the Constitution weren't for women or people of color. So you make an amendment. That's where the Amber Alert was. You think she was the first one that came up missing?
No.
You think Megan was the first one that came up? I mean, come on. But again, so good. So the laws are in place, but now they're disproportionately used or not used for people of color. But there's nothing that says it specifically. There's nothing that says it intently, like, we don't use this for black people. But when you look at the numbers, it's very clear.
What about this? Now, Alter Ego in the comments says Tianda and Diamond Bradley were two black sisters that were national news. I don't remember that story. Do you remember this?
I don't remember that story either.
I don't remember
I
this.
don't remember that story either.
You sure what?
And again,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, listen, I'm about to say, is he sure that wasn't something local to his area? I never heard of these people.
Well, yeah, I haven't either. And he could be right. I mean, I don't catch every single news cycle. And me and Alter Ego go back and forth. I actually like Alter Ego. But at the end of the day, when we talk about these things, people act what we're saying is like, and you got to ask yourself, why would a group of people work so hard to be left the fuck alone? Like, just stop trying to set us back. Stop ignoring what's happening to us like it's not happening. And then when we tell you, you tell us, you're race baiting, you're fear mongering, all this. But you and I both know that image you had on your screen with the black guy and the white guy. That's why they have it up there, Tim.
Yeah.
That's why they have it up
there. It's definitely about racism. I mean, racial overtones. I mean, but like I said, that ain't just something the white people did. If it was reversed and some white dude killed a black girl on the subway, the black community would be going ape shit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But again, The difference is the history, and people don't want to talk about the history,
No.
right? The history is that one life is more valuable than the other, right?
Yeah.
That's the history. But I did want to address one topic with you, Tim, and I want you. I don't know if you talked about it. We talked about the vaccinations in Florida.
Yeah.
Now,
The what does he call this? The Attorney General or Surgeon General are calling it akin to slavery.
yeah, and let me tell you, the first time they lose a life in Florida behind these vaccinations, they are going to cook his ass. They are going to, because they're going to all point at him. Oh, trust me, they're all going to point at him. They're going to sue his ass because he's supposed to be smart enough to make a better decision. But here's the thing that I wanted to address, because I haven't heard anybody talking about this. Can you be for mandatory vaccinations in Florida and be pro-life at the same time? If you agree with the mandates or the non-mandates of the vaccination in Florida, aren't you pro-choice?
Yeah, but it's hypocrisy. I mean, both sides are doing it. Everybody's talking about, my body, my choice when they want it to be. Just like the left will say, my body, my choice when a woman wants to choose what to do with her unborn child, but then she'll say you should be forced to get vaccinated to come to school or to come to work. And the right does the same thing in reverse. They don't want to be forced to vaccinate, but they want to force people to carry a child to term. So both sides are doing just the opposite of what they're saying.
No. Well, let me ask you this. Is the left arguing for vaccinations?
They were the party that was in favor of mandatory vaccinations during the pandemic.
For what purpose?
Safety.
Safety, right?
But looking in hindsight, the left over. I mean, listen, the COVID-19 was a novel virus. They didn't know what was going on. They had you doing everything from leaving your groceries outside for 24 hours to washing them down. So they mandated a lot of stuff that was unnecessary, and it hurt people.
Well, okay, so let's take the pandemic out because that's an anomaly because we were dealing with something that we didn't know. Let's take that out. I'm talking about school vaccinations.
Okay.
They've been mandatory in all 50 states.
That's insane. When you start talking about it's optional to get vaccinated for illnesses that like you said, well, you got decades of actual science that proves. I mean, the vaccine for the measles or chickenpox or rubella or smallpox or polio, there's decades of science to make it clear that shit works. I don't know why they would make. If you want to stick with the COVID shit, we can talk about that. But all that other stuff, we've been getting vaccinated for that stuff before me and you was alive in some cases. Like I don't understand why they would roll that back. That's going way too far.
Well, and here's my point before you let me go. The argument was, it's what you do with your body between you and God. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said, and they applaud it, and they're supporting it. Well, if that's your stance, you cannot take a pro-life stance when it comes to women.
Yeah. Makes 100% logic or sense, but we know there's a lot of hypocrisy there. We know that.
So if they say that means that they're really, and you need to challenge when you hear that. So that means you're pro-choice. Yeah. Because there's no way out of that conversation. You must be pro-choice.
Yeah.
Because if you agree with that, and it's your body between you and your God, then your feelings about women having ABs, you can't equivocate.
Well, there is a side argument, though. A woman having an AB, that's not just her doing something with her body. In their opinion, you're killing something else that is not you. You're killing a child inside of you that is not you. Whereas getting vaccinated, you're not killing someone. At least on the surface, you're not, because you could get somebody really fucking sick. But on the surface, you're not killing. Whereas an AB is killing somebody every single time, in their opinion. They believe life begins at conception. So if you believe life begins at conception, then having an AB is you're murdering somebody.
How many people has Texas lost to because the measles vaccination was not mandatory in Texas?
I don't know, but I'm just simply saying.
What
yeah, but the vaccine.
What are we up to 600 or something?
Yeah, but the vaccination still goes back to what I said. Getting vaccinated doesn't involve a murder every time. They believe that an AB involves a murder every single time.
Well, that's what they believe, but what they believe, again, they're shaping their belief to fit their position.
Yeah, of course,
You can't
of course.
equivocate,
But
but if your position is, yes, your body, that's between you and God. It doesn't matter at that point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. There's a lot of hypocrisy to go around. What you're saying, if I'm a judge and you're presenting that argument, I'm gonna rule in favor of you every time. But I do understand that, it's hypocrisy. People are okay with what they're doing when it favors them, and then just the opposite when it doesn't. I gotta move it on, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on that one at all, not one bit.
Hey, and lastly, before we go, tap the screen, share the live, gets him up to about 50,000. And I know he has the Trump and JD Vance stickers, pictures on his wall back there, which is some weird shit. I understand.
What's wrong with that? They are the current hot. That is the duo. They're on fire right now. What's wrong with having a commander in chief and a vice president up there? I used to have Biden and Kamala Harris up there. They're just not they're not hot right now.
Well, that shit that JD Vance said the other day about the bombing of that boat was absolutely despicable, coming from the vice president of the United States.
He rolling with Trump.
Absolutely terrible.
He rolling with Trump. You're gonna hear a lot more of that. Mike, thanks for coming through.
All right, my brother. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it. All right, looking in the comments, in Minnesota, he was into Satan and against Jews and Trump. It's spiritual battle. It's, okay, I don't know what you're talking about there. No clue what you're talking about. I don't know. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up, as Mike said. We see we can get up to 50,000. I know that might be a bit much to ask, but let your thumbs not be lazy. My Bears are winning 10 to 6 at halftime. Go, but maybe I should have put some money down on it. Kids are going to be dying left and right without those mandated vaccinations. The problem is not just kids losing their lives right and left, is that travel to and from Florida is going to become a problem. I mean, do you want, let's say for, like somebody pointed, I think it was Mike, we had him on a different show, and he pointed out how a lot of youthful athletes that are in sports travel all over the country for competitions, championships, and things like that. Do you want a plane full of unvaccinated Florida youth coming into your area? So what is likely to happen is it's going to start affecting travel to and from Florida, because that's what happened during the pandemic, is when they left everything open and suddenly other states was like, we don't want your people coming here. If you guys are not going to get vaccinated, you could come here and make people sick. We're not going to want you to come here. So that's what's likely to happen. In the interim, is it's going to start getting to the point where people are going to be like, if you come from Florida, you can't come here, or you can only go such and such. It might start interfering with travel if they start having outbreaks, measles and chickenpox and all kinds of shit starts coming back. If they start having outbreaks, because I had somebody on the program the other day that said something, and I ended up looking it up, and it turns out she was right, that even if you vaccinate yourself or your child, if some illness weakens your immune system, you got the flu, or you got pneumonia, even though you've been vaccinated, you got something that's compromising your immune system. Older people might have cancer and they're getting chemo. Chemo compromises you can actually be open to those things that you were vaccinated against, because you're currently dealing with a compromised immune system. So all of a sudden, you've been you've had immunization. I can't even think of the other word, but you've been immunized from something back when you were a child. But now the kids of today are not getting the vaccination. And so as a grandparent, you came down with some illness and you're getting chemo or something like that. So your immune system is compromised. You can't be around a young kid because he could end up giving it to you. So yeah, it's going to start making people look at Florida like, do I really want to let these residents travel here? That could cause a problem in itself. Looking in the comments, thank you there. Dennis Calhoun says, last time we had a Department of War. Yeah, you mentioned that. The last time we had a Department of War was in the 1930s, and you mentioned the coincidence of that, and I do apologize for not responding to your previous comment. The last time we had a Department of War was 1938. Is that a coincidence? Now, obviously, that's when the Germans were rising up, and that's also right before World War II might have already been in action in Europe. I don't know when they first hit Poland and all of that, but obviously we got hit in 1941. So 3 years later, we got hit, but Germany was already striking places in Europe already. So, for a guy who ran on no new wars, I don't understand why he is, renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War. He doesn't, this because I get a lot of folks tell me all the time how they're pissed off with, the fact that I used to run a show that seemed more fair and unbiased, and now they don't, you're all about bashing Trump, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not trying to come across as always bashing Trump. I'm like, he's a different guy. Now, I'm a little bit left of center, but I don't think far left is perfect. I obviously don't think the far right is perfect. Fact is, President Trump 2.0, compared to his first term, he's went significantly closer to the far right. So when folks watch the program and they go, you've changed and I don't like your program the way I used to, it's because he's changed. The direction for this country that he's talking about in 2.0 is much further to the right than it was in 1.0. So I'm not going to still speak and act the same when the current president is totally different from Trump 2016 to 2020. It's a totally different president. I mean, he was bragging no new wars under his watch, 2016 to 2020. All he seems to talk about is attacking people this time. I mean, he's now threatening Hamas again. He actually did that, I believe, yesterday or something like that. He's now threatening to get back in that. Netanyahu and the Israelis have that sold up. They don't need any American intervention in that. The Hamas is not giving any sort of resistance of any significance to the Israelis at all. They don't need a superpower like America to jump in there. They do not need us. They got that covered. And Trump is not talking about jumping in it to end it or jumping in it to take relief off the Palestinians. He's talking about jumping in it on the side of Israel. I mean, they don't need that. That's just a slaughter at that point. I mean, that's like, you're 5 foot nothing, and you got a big ass guy like Shaquille O'Neal beating the shit out of you, and then Hulk Hogan shows up and says, I'm gonna help you out, Shaq. I mean, you don't need that. That's a slaughter. So I don't know why he's talking about doing that. Ain't something that Trump 1.0 would have talked about doing. Donald Trump succeeded by Jersey Joe Biden. Okay. He said that's why people voted for Trump. Voted for Trump to get involved in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? I thought we voted for Trump because he had no new wars under his watch. He seems hell-bent on getting involved in wars. Whether it's striking Iran, now we just hit folks in Venezuela, and he's talking about potentially going after folks in mainland Venezuela. Obviously, Greenland came up earlier, and annexing Canada. It's getting to the point where it's hard to tell. Not to mention sending military into American cities, suggesting that Chicago is going to find out why it's called the Department of War. He seems more like a warmonger this time compared to last time. I don't think anybody's going to walk away from his second term talking about no new war starting under him. That just does not seem to be happening this time at all. Well, Palestinians started it. Don't start a war and cry when you lose. Well, William, Israel went way beyond getting retaliation for what Hamas did. But even if you want, let's go with what you're saying. You said, to the Palestinians, don't start a war and then cry when you lose. They didn't start a war with the United States. Even if what you're saying is true, then that's between them and Israel. They didn't do nothing to the United. Why is the United States getting involved in it? The United States is just kind of piling on. They didn't do anything to America on October 7th. Why are we getting involved in it? If the last administration didn't tear the country apart so bad, maybe it wouldn't be a warmonger. Tore the country apart how? How was America torn apart on New Year's Day this year? Because Biden was still president on January 1st. Tell me how America was torn apart. I don't see it. I mean, think about all the Americans that had jobs, that had farms, that no longer have them now. Go tell them the country was torn apart. Tell them they're better off now. You're about to lose your farm. Yay, you're doing better now. Tell them that. I don't understand what you mean, torn apart. Now, the border, I see somebody mention the border. Okay, the immigration issue was a big problem. But most Americans weren't dealing with that. I'll submit to you before I go back to the box. Tap the screen, get us on up to 50,000. Appreciate you guys that are doing it. Most Americans that are bitching about open borders were not dealing with any of the consequences of open borders. They just don't like it. Just like most Americans that are bitching about the crime in Chicago don't live anywhere near Chicago, have no desire to go to Chicago. It just makes for something good to sit around the TV and look at and bitch about. I mean, if you live in, I keep mentioning Idaho because it's a blood red. You live in Boise, Idaho, you ain't dealing with no huge issue with immigration. And whatever they're doing down on the border, open borders, is not affecting you at all. Yet they're, Chicago's got to fix their crime. You ain't going there. Ain't got nothing to do with you. So I will submit to you that the country was not torn apart under Biden. It was going in a direction you may not have favored. I can understand that because Biden leans left, you lean right. But torn apart, no. Trump supporters can't think for themselves. They need Fox News to come up with talking points, even if it's all wrong and lies. Damn. Well, what did the movie say? For it to be a Fox News story, it has to be something that scares your grandma and pisses off your grandpa. That's what they suggested a Fox News story is. Something that scares your grandma and pisses off your grandpa. 77 million weak-ass, fearless bullies, says Kingpin. The border affects everyone. Look how many illegals in New York. No, it doesn't affect everyone. I don't think so. I'm telling you, if you live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, how is it really affecting you? I mean, what is happening if you live in that area, you happen to be you work for the light company or you're an engineer with the telephone company, how is that really affecting you? You might see a few of them coming and going, but you can afford a nice home, you're getting paid how is it really affecting you? So I don't know if that's true. And I don't buy it, I don't subscribe to the theory that there's a whole bunch of Americans being killed and murdered by illegal immigrants. So tell me, how does it really affect you? I don't know. They work in jobs Americans won't do or want to do. Clear that one up. Let me go back to the box. Like I said, I'm being honest with you. I'm from Chicago, and they had a lot of immigrants there. It just doesn't affect me personally. I mean, I had a job before Biden became president. I had a job during his presidency. I still have a job. I didn't get dirt poor when Biden got elected with open borders. Trump came in, he's closed the borders. I'm not becoming filthy rich. My life personally is not being greatly affected by the securing of the border. It's not affecting me personally that much at all. And I do believe the border should be secure, but it's not really affecting me that much at all. I just think you should know who's coming in the country. But I don't buy into the theory that if you don't secure the border, they're going to come over here and blow some shit up and kill a bunch of people. I don't see that. If you pay taxes, it affects you. I don't even think that's the case, ENC, because I'll give you an example. Trump got in there and he stopped sending money to the Ukraine. That represented billions of dollars that was going to, military surplus and things. Billions of dollars was going to the Ukraine. Trump stopped that. He stopped money going to Iran from the Obama deal in his first term. He cut out all sorts of USAID and overseas contributions through Doge. Obviously fired a whole bunch of federal employees that were waste, fraud, and abuse from our tax money. And then, of course, he's deporting tens of thousands of illegal immigrants, suggesting that they're getting food stamps and entitlements as well. Now that we've saved all of that money, how has your personal finances been affected? Because I'm going to submit to you, I'm not seeing a change at all. So when you suggest that illegal immigrants is going to affect me because my tax money, I'm not seeing any benefit from all of the billions of dollars that Trump is claiming he saved us. Not one thing. I mean, listen, I'm a guy with 3 college degrees. None of my student loans are going to get paid off. I'm not going to get universal health care. There's no tax cut that's going to be of any significance that I'm going to jump up and down screaming about. Where's the benefit? I mean, he saved, if you listen to Trump, he saved, according to him, damn near $1 trillion. Where are the Americans jumping up and down saying, yay, thank God that Trump did that. I'm not paying any taxes or my financial situation is blown up. I'm not seeing it. So that's where I have a difference. Eat caca MAGA coat pretzels. Fuck around and find out. Dump Trump, says Deltron 3030. That's a mouthful. Eat caca MAGA coat pretzels. Fuck around and find out. Dump Trump. That's a mouthful. Thank you for your support, by the way. Even when you talk about the debt, let me go to the box. When you talk about, by him doing it, it's going to cut the national debt. Bullshit. He's talking about building an Iron Dome. He's talking about getting involved in all kinds of other military government contracts. You're not going to save any money. All he's doing is playing the shell game. He's going to, the money that was going to USAID or the money that was going to Ukraine is just going to go to expand our military. It's not going to reduce any national debt. It's just he's going to take it from one thing and put it into something else you might not agree with. It's not going to cut. You realize how much money we're spending on the National Guard in D.C. every day? $1 million per day for that to be there. And nobody believes that that is a permanent solution to crime in D.C. It's $1 million a day being spent in D.C. to have the National Guard standing around really just holding on to rifles and intimidating people or picking up garbage. $1 million a day for that. So I don't think we were hardly sitting. When you look at how much money we're sending USAID, you can pretty much take the money from USAID and just contribute it to how much money we're paying the National Guard. So it didn't cut the debt and it didn't affect your life at all. You know, if you don't live in DC, you're not getting any benefits out of solving crime. And because the money is going from there to there, you're not getting any benefit out of any debt being cut. So, and that's what's happening. He's just playing a shell game with the money. But at the end of the day, you and I aren't benefiting from that. Let me go back to the box. And if somebody can tell me where otherwise, I would love to hear it. Miss Mobetta, you are truly in a cult. Moron, says NM. Explain how. Appreciate the sub there, Shooty Scoot, I think that says. Thank you very much. Miss Mobetta, good evening.
Good evening, Tim. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
I want you. President Trump is claiming that within only. Well, I'll let you hear him. I want you to tell me what do you think in terms of the likelihood of this.
Yeah.
I will cut the price of energy and electricity in half. Ready? 12 months from January 20th, I take office on January 20th, your electric bill, including cars, air conditioners, heating, everything, your total electric bill will be 50% less. We're going to cut it in half. And we have it. We have the power to do it because we have it. We don't need
12 months. He's going to cut your electric bill at home, cut your price of fuel. 12 months. So that's by January coming up. It'll be 50% less than it was.
I would like to know what areas he's speaking of because here in New York, we get our sources from Canada and he made them an enemy.
Yeah. This is national. He said this many times. He made it clear. This is national. This is not an area. It's for the whole nation.
I would like to see how that's going to happen. Unless he's flip-flopping and doing backhanded deals like you said he does. Backhanded deals with Canada that he's not going to speak in public because he doesn't want to lose his status as being the big man on campus.
Mm. And I would
like to know how is that going to happen.
Well, I mean, he claims that he claims that he can do it. Now he made this promise about 10 months ago. He wasn't quite president yet.
He makes a lot of pressure. He makes I guess with gas being $1.98 nationally and stuff, he just likes, like I say, he blinks lies. When he blinked, a lie just fell out.
I get told that all the time. But what about?
Listen, you can't believe it's bad that you really can't believe shit that he says. You're supposed to be a leader of the free world, and he got it more divided than any other president that has stepped foot in that White House.
Mm. Do you think he wants us united?
Absolutely not. Because what does he do to actually say, all right, folks, this is our plan for all people? No, he's attacking his own civilians. He's attacking his peace. He started a war with his own people. You sending the National Guard in there. They are a Department of War. That means you're declaring war on your own people.
Mm. Now, did you see his clip from the other day when we covered that on the other show when he was talking about Chicago's going to find out why they call it the Department of War. The apocalypse picture.
He'd be the first one to fuck around and find out. But see, he runs his mouth because he don't take his ass in those areas. You understand what I'm saying? He don't go in there. He sends the little pawns in there. Like you said, we're playing chess. He's playing chess. The military is his pawns right now. They're gonna send him. He gonna send them where he want to send them. And they're going to go because they have families that they have to feed. So it's not like they're going to defy him because they have a right to refuse a lot of things that he does. They have that right.
I don't know. I think
Trump.
Trump may be braver than you giving him credit for. I think with enough military presence, he would go into.
How?
Well, I'll give you an example. Remember, he held the Bible upside down. He went right into the area where they were rioting, just to show them I got this shit.
You got jokes too.
Well, he did it. He did it.
You got jokes. That he listen. You see how that's burning? That's what his house looks in the afterlife. That's what his life looks in the afterlife. Right. All that burning in the back. And he don't look like no commander in there. He look like he from Brokeback Mountain in that.
Oh my! You know, speaking of the notion of him burning in the afterlife, because I get all, I'm on his text message list, 80810, I think it is 80822. I get a lot of text messages from the Trump campaign. He sent me a message, and it does say Tim. Yet they just put everybody's names in there, but it starts out Tim. I'm trying to get into heaven. It actually says that. And it gives reasons of why he's trying to get into heaven and things like that, what he's trying to do. And he said he believed God wants him to make America great again. I don't know if he's typing this shit up or his handlers are doing it.
No, he ain't. That's some them auto shit, some AI, like they say. He is not. First of all, he say he ain't a Christian, number one. But I'm here to debunk when people say that, because you don't have to be a Christian to know God. God is not of religion. God is for all men. It ain't got nothing. Religion is what is man-made and what people came up with to divide and conquer. They used they used religion as a scare tactic.
Yeah. Well, I say on the show. I say on the show all the time. Now that I've gotten, because I used to want to be a pastor when I was a young man. I used to go to church all the time, and as I've gotten older and I started seeing exactly what you're talking about, how much religion was used to promote hate and division, and I'm not very religious at all anymore, because
They do. And doing all of that, look at all of those pastors. I was watching the video today where all of those pastors got arrested for essaying children, for abusing children and all. That was a long list of and guess what? They were Republicans. They were MAGA. And not just Republican, they were MAGA. There's a different entity there, because MAGA's a cult.
Yeah, see, my standpoint is, if there is a God, and you can pray to the guy and he can alter what's going on earth and things like that. If there is a God, he's supposed to stop that stuff. I mean, people are using your religion to exploit, rape, murder, and kill other people. If you know they're doing that in your name, you're supposed to do something about that. Otherwise, what good is praying to you?
That teaching and stuff, Tim, goes really deep, and I know you know, because like I said, when Satan was in heaven, he wanted to be the king. When he left heaven, he took a third of the angels with him. God actually gave him dominion down here on earth. But what was supposed to happen was, us with our free will, we have the right to choose between what's right and wrong.
Are you saying that God gave us dominion voting machines? We have a right to choose between Joe Biden and Trump?
You absolutely do.
He gave us dominion. I like it.
He has dominion down here. So what happened? Unfortunately, the good sometimes have to suffer along with the bad. That's the harsh reality about this stuff here. The good suffers right along with the bad, because again, we have free will. We have free will to do whatever we choose to do. But again, not all opportunities that knock are good ones. So are you going to choose to do what's right, or are you going to choose to do what's wrong? Those are the only two options.
Well, sometimes the line gets blurred between what's right and wrong. No, I mean, some people actually are doing wrong and they genuinely believe what they're doing is right.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because people can see the truth in their face and they still won't believe it. Still make excuses to do whatever. Yeah, it happened, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, let me run this one by you. With you being a sister, this is coming out of the comments. Betty at the Lie Slayer says Black women have done more to destroy the Black community than any Republican. What have you been doing to destroy our community?
I would like for whoever that is If they got mommy issues or if they're mad at their mother or something, that ain't got shit to do with us black women. The black women are the most nurturing people, species in the world. So they could find something else to talk about because that's the furthest from the truth. Well, and actually, I'm not offended by it because I know it ain't true. How about that?
Well, the same individual.
And I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
The same individual says black women will kill more black babies in 1 year than what slavery did in 400 years. So you guys are just murdering them born.
I hate to tell them to go look at the statistics and who was killing the most babies, and it was white women. Yeah. Go do the statistic. Go to Parenthood and look at the numbers. So stop going with this propaganda about the black people. Stop highlighting black people for everything that happens.
Yeah, I mean the thing about it with black people only represent 13% of the population, and blacks tend to have a higher birth rate. It's pretty clear if you're going to compare who's actually going to the AB clinics and killing their kids. It's going to be far more white women than black people. It's just more white people in the country.
They need
period.
to say that shit. Say that. Stop. Get off the black woman's nipple. We fucking breastfed y'all asses for long enough.
Yeah.
We breastfed y'all long, and so don't get me into the history of this shit, because then y'all really ain't gonna like me, and then y'all gonna call me racist for pointing out to the shit that y'all should have been taught a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's why we here right now having these conversations, because again, like you said, for those who try to erase history are bound to repeat it. However that saying goes, it stands true. Yeah. It stands true, and it goes to comments just like those over there on the left side of you over there. That it just proves what that saying is.
You know,
stop trying to act like black women are the enemy, because we're not.
You damn right when you say those comments on the left side of me. Yeah, my YouTube audience is mostly MAGA. Yeah, the left side of me be hot as hell.
I know. I be on your YouTube too. I know. Listen, it's there, and then they show themselves to be who they are, and they get mad when somebody call it out. Knock it off. I'm not the one to talk. I'm not the one to get over on. You can't pee in my ear and tell me it's raining.
Ooh, well, I even get the women though, because I got Sarah Muhammad in the Sarah Mahmoud or whatever says, I feel sorry for black men. This is what you have to pick from. So they really coming at you pretty hard tonight. Wow.
Listen, they go over to other ones because y'all weak vessels. If we're too strong for us, that's not our problem. But let's go back to why black men are intimidated by black women, because Master had broke our black men. They were buck broke. I don't know if they understand what that is. They might not understand what that is. But Master made them think. They think that they was missing out on something because Master was sleeping with raping all the black women. So the black man, once we so-called got free, they said we're gonna go back and get that 304s. You know what 304s is, right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna go back and get them. So it ain't that. Come on, black men love us.
Yeah, they don't.
We love our black men. So stop acting like what you said is gonna turn me against it, because that's not gonna happen. And how you figure that is happening is not. I'm sorry to tell you. Fair
enough. Wow. I just, I have to read some of the comments. I mean, they've only continued to get even hotter with you pushing back. Yeah, they've only gotten hotter.
But I got all night.
Yeah, because somebody said, I got one of them. Cody is claiming that black women have destroyed the black family by accepting government handouts for over 50 years.
Well, that's because the black men are absent. If there was a black man there present, if the black man is present, then she wouldn't have to accept government assistance. Let's be clear about this here.
It should also be
single women because of why?
Yeah, it should also be added that when they first started making handouts available to black welfare and food stamps, when they started making that available to black families, the black guy had to leave the house for the woman to even qualify to get it.
House.
So
they could go on Bricks TV and watch Claudine right now. Claudine explains, it'll show you how that used to happen. You used to have to hide shit from the welfare, all kinds of stuff, because they couldn't be there.
They haven't watched Claudine, but I know the scene. Yeah, they haven't watched Claudine, but I know that exact scene you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. But again, stop acting like the black woman is the epitome of losership, because that's the furthest from the truth.
To me, it's almost the akin of putting a bag over your head and then making fun of you because you're gagging for air. I mean, that's what it kind of sounds like. It's a lot of the things that they complain about. Yeah, a lot of the things they complain about are circumstances or consequences of things that were done to the black community, but they don't see that part.
You can't put an animal in a cage, poke at him, starve him, and do everything, and then let him free and expect him to behave.
Yeah.
You, that's a double standard. You can't do it. But like I said, just because when I state the truth on things, try to give you a little education on how things were really ran. Now the people want to say we're racist or the black woman is the problem.
Well, they're gonna say you have. They're gonna say you have victim. They're gonna say you have victim mentality. Zero in the comments. Zero in the comments.
All kind of semantics, because that's all it is. A bunch of word salad, bunch of semantics. But I can tell you what, I have a job and a bank account that approve all their ass is different.
Zero spelled with an X, like Xerox. Zero says black women took money to be single mothers. So in other words, you took the money knowing you had to put your husband, which to some degree, the rule that the man couldn't be in the house should never have been there to begin with. So when they took money to be single mothers, well, the fact that they had to be single mothers should never have been there. I mean, but that was the rule.
Well, see, that goes to show you how they don't read. They don't read, and they deny the truth. White women were the biggest recipients of welfare. So what the fuck is you talking about?
They don't. I don't think.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't think most folks on the right.
The more you talk to them, the dumber you get. Like for real, this shit is crazy.
Well, I don't think most folks on the. I don't think most folks on the right believe that white women are the largest recipient of welfare. I don't think they believe that. So they believe in the black welfare queen. So you're not gonna get that.
Of course, because they don't want to make it seem like that they raggedy as fuck, because that's what they are. They raggedy as fuck. And I'm not racist. Before they even go there, no, I'm not racist. But how you treat me is how I'm gonna treat you, and that's period. Now you could call me whatever.
I think I don't accidentally brought out the gangster grandma in you. I gotta move it on, Miss Mobetta, though.
They lucky. I could get like gangster grandma, like I go there, but I won't, cause I don't have to. I don't have to.
Fair enough.
Tell them it ain't my fault that we are some intelligent, beautiful, articulate, nurturing, sexy. We all of the above, and they mad cause their wife could never hold the candle to my feet.
Damn, that's big. That's big. I appreciate it. Shout out to Mystical. It ain't my fault. Thank you for coming through, Miss Mobetta. Catch you on the next one. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. It ain't my fault. Get me on up to 70,000. Shout out to Mystical, who's doing probably the rest of his life in prison for rape. Lots of dark-skinned praise white women. Yeah, and that is true. There's a lot of brothers that date white women, but the opposite is true as well. They don't want to believe the highest people who are on welfare are the Jewish people, and they live with their husbands. Is that true? I've never heard that one before, Carlos. That one is something new. You listen to a lot of rap music. Not currently, Mike. Not in recent times. I'm a big house music fan now, so I don't listen to a lot of rap. But back in the day, I mean, obviously Mystical. You know, you're talking 90s, that era. Yeah, I was listening to a lot more. I don't listen to all of the, the Cardis and all of that shit. The Megan Thee Stallion, all that stuff. I don't listen to anymore. But back in the day, buddy, your channel was great for the people. Damn. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. I give you that wasn't what I was trying to hit, but I appreciate that. That's what I was trying to hit. Thank you for that. I've never heard that one before. Your channel was great for the people. Got me sound like I'm straight out of a Spike Lee movie. I like it. All Obama wanted to do is turn black boys into, wait a minute, all Obama wanted to do, this is coming from the Lie Slayer, says the Lie Slayer, says all Obama wanted to do is turn black boys in the bags and black women was with it. How do you turn, I'm assuming you want to put an F before the B? All Obama wanted to do is turn black boys in the bags? I don't understand what you mean by that. You're talking about EDM. King fan, not, well, I do like some EDM. When I say house music, just like with rap, there's different variations, different types of rap. There's different types of R&B. There's different types of rock. There are a lot of different types of house music. I've been a house music fan since it was invented. Spun right up from disco, and I am a big fan of disco as well too. So deep house, soulful house. There's a different, not the trance, not the techno. I'm not a fan of dubstep. I don't like any of that. But there are a lot of Chicago house, the old school Chicago house. Certainly, I'm a fan of that as well. But yeah, house music. I'm a big lover of house music. Loves a lot of house music. A lot of stuff that comes out of South Africa, I listen to. I listen to a lot of stuff that comes out of Chicago, New York, Detroit, Miami, you name it. Anyway, looking in the comments though, who put the black man at? Wait a minute. Who put the black man at the house for a block of cheese and 200? Who put? You said something that doesn't make any sense there. Obama tried pushing that homo stuff, Africa, and they wasn't having it. I don't remember Obama trying pushing. I mean, I get that you're indicating you don't like homophobes. I mean, what you're basically saying is you're a homophobic person, but I don't remember out of Obama's 8 years. That has got to be. I know Obama legalized gay marriage. I know the right does not like gay marriage being legalized, which is why I stated in my video 5 rights you may lose under Trump. I included same-sex marriage as one of those rights you're probably likely to lose in 3 years of Trump. But I know he went to Africa and was, speaking favorably of same-sex marriage. Okay, they didn't like it. Fair enough. They're homophobes too. This country, Obama used to be one. Obama is quoted as saying marriage is between a man and a woman. He evolved, just like Trump is quoted as saying the economy is better under Democrats. He evolved. People say shit and they change their mind later on. You're not going to get that on mainstream media. There you go. I mean, it was well known when it happened at the time, so I don't know what you mean by that. Obama went to Africa, I think, in 2014 and was trying to push LGBTQ over there and was declined. I remember that happening because I remember clips of the leader over there that was saying, I don't want this shit. I remember it. Kamala Harris did the same thing. It was laughed out. I do remember it. I mean, listen, a large portion of the world is still homophobic. And they're definitely transphobic. So yeah, I understand. I do remember it. I'm not denying that it happened. Without assistance, watch what happens to farmers in the communities. Yeah. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to about, we should have been around 80. Tap the screen, get the likes on up, if you will. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Tim, it says, Tim, how you evolved to gay marriage? They not reproducing. Marriage ain't always about fucking reproducing. You're gonna tell me that when Trump got, let's take Trump out of it. You're gonna tell me that when 2 people get married, let's say, for instance, your wife dies and you're 50, 60 years of age, and you find love again in your senior citizen years. You're not getting married to reproduce. Marriage doesn't always have to be about reproduction. It's just a union between 2 people. It ain't about reproduction. I mean, so what are you suggesting, that if a woman or a man is infertile, they shouldn't get married? There's plenty of marriages that will never reproduce. People adopt children and every damn thing. So I don't buy into the notion that, you got to get rid of same-sex marriage because it hurts reproduction rates. You're going to have, there's always going to be plenty of people that are willing to reproduce. So I don't think that's a reason to do that. Marriage isn't a government issue. It shouldn't be a government issue. But when you got a government that is loaded with folks that are trying to implement religion on the people, and religion is very homophobic in many cases, that's where you get the problem is. People are throwing religion into it. States can recognize homosexual marriage, doesn't mean the government has to recognize it. So I don't care if you recognize it or not, don't interfere with it. Don't interfere with it. Because really, if you get married, your wife or your husband is guaranteed to your assets upon death. If something happens to you and it comes up to making medical decisions for you, your spouse automatically gets control of that. If they don't recognize your union, you could end up, on your deathbed, and because they don't recognize the person that you're married to, somebody you don't even know having control of deciding what to do with you. That's why you do need to recognize it. It does need to be recognized. That's why the civil union thing was not that popular. And people say, no, we want to have the same rights as married people do. Because there's more rights to being married than having a civil union. Power of attorney will take care of that. Yeah, but you got to pay for that. The person getting married gets it all for free. Why do you got to pay? Now, if they want to make the power of attorney free, then that's different. If you're going to give the same-sex couple power of attorney or the creation of a will or whatever it takes, you want to give it to them for free, which is exactly what the married couple is giving, then you might be onto something. But they got to pay for something that the married couple was getting for free. Welfare was given by Lyndon Johnson to destroy the black leaders of Reconstruction. Look, take Lyndon B. Johnson away, the guy who allegedly said, I'm going to have Negroes voting for me for the next. Take him away, and the black community is doing worse. You can say what you want to say about Lyndon B. Johnson, but overall, he was far more beneficial to the black community than not. Take him out. Take away all the things he gave the black community, and you tell me the black community is better off. Let me go back to the box. Thank you folks that are sharing the live. Continuing on with Fuzzard. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I think I got Stick. Trying to bring you up before Stick. Look, bro, if gay marriage ruins your chance of reproducing, gay marriage isn't the problem. It's you. Yeah. Everybody ain't trying to reproduce either. Keep that in mind. Stick. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good, doing real good, man. So we're talking. I want to talk about something that I haven't been mentioning too much so far. But did you hear that Trump had a big win in the Supreme Court today?
Yeah, it was something along the lines of how he can. Was it treat the ICE agents can treat?
Yeah, I'll give you this. This is less than a half a minute.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
And good morning, I'm John Gregory. Breaking news coming out of the Supreme Court this morning. The High Court clearing the way for federal agents to conduct sweeping immigration operations in Los Angeles. It's the latest victory for President Donald Trump's administration. The justices lifted a restraining order from a judge who found that roving patrols were conducting indiscriminate arrests in L.A. The order had barred agents from stopping people solely based on their race, language, job, or location.
They can now, what that had stopped them from doing is stopping you based on your race, language, job, or location. So now ICE agents can grab you. If they want to base it on race, it's okay. If they want to base it on the fact that you speak a certain language or the job you have or even a location you're in, they can now grab you based on that.
Well, now you're your own walking, talking evidence that I should grab you.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with, because you like they said, you can look any kind of way, you can speak any language, you can basically look like you're foreign. As long as you look like you're foreign, we're gonna come at you.
Yeah, so this is one of the
way around the law.
Yeah, this is one of when I said that there's 5 rights Americans may lose under Trump. This qualifies as one of those rights. It's the Fourth Amendment, protection against unwarranted searches and seizures. In other words, if you don't have a warrant or probable cause, you're not supposed to be able to search and seize anybody. But according to the Supreme Court, you now can stop people solely based on race, solely based on the language they speak or the job they work or even the location they're in. Now, as you pointed out, this leaves a lot of room for error. There's a lot of Americans born and raised in this country that speak certain languages, that look a certain way that might qualify and trigger the race. They are in that same location or have the same type of job. So this is likely to lead to a whole lot of Americans having their Fourth Amendment rights violated.
Oh yeah, and they're waiting for more. Just like you said earlier, there's probably going to be about 4 or 5. Or he's just going to get rid of the Constitution altogether.
I don't want to go that far. Damn. I don't want to go that far.
No. Because in order for you never to be able to vote again or not have to vote again, would you say that that was in the Constitution, and that's a part of how we used to live. And he's trying to make it a whole different United States.
Wait, say that again.
I said that being that he's doing things that are basically in the Constitution, and now
he's violating the Bill of Rights. He's violating the Bill of Rights.
He wants to do. What's that?
He's violating the Bill of Rights. The the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. Yeah, he's definitely going against the Constitution.
Okay. Yeah, he's going against the Constitution, and in certain cases, when you have him saying, "I'll make it to where you now have to vote again," he's definitely telling you that he's trying to basically get rid of it in its entirety, because it's now becoming, like I told you a long time ago, he's becoming whatever I write and or say is law. That's Saddam Hussein.
Now, how about this? This is a way of MAGA pushing back. It's an interesting way of wording it. Brent, I think it's Brent Walls in the comments or something. He says Trump is not violating anything. It's the Supreme Court is the one that voted on it. So, gives Trump plausible deniability. Trump ain't violating any of your constitutional rights. The Supreme Court is doing it.
No, what happens is Trump violates your civil and constitutional rights, and then the Supreme Court said, well, he had the right to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening, because he does it first. Somebody challenges it and says it's unconstitutional, and then by the time it goes to the Supreme Court, they're just saying, well, he had the right to do it. He can do whatever he want to do, and that's what we're going through.
That's a really good way of putting it. Is that the Supreme Court is just okaying his actions. Because without him doing it first, this would never be before the Supreme Court. They would never rule on it. It takes for him to first do it, and then they come behind him and interpret it in a way of suggesting that it's legal. Like with flag burning, if Obama didn't win, let's say DeSantis or Chris Christie or Nikki Haley or any of those, Vivek Ramaswamy had won when they were primarying Trump. If one of them were president right now, you wouldn't have had the Supreme Court ruling on flag burning. That's something. The same thing with this whole stopping people based on race, language, job, and location. This stuff wouldn't happen if Trump wasn't in office.
Well, not only that, a lot of people that are prominently displayed at this moment wouldn't be out. So you got Vivek, right? He was the India or the guy from India that was basically trying to just everything that Trump did. He either tried to mimic it,
Vivek Ramaswamy,
to grab it. Yeah. And guess what? The reporter told him, you sound good, but I just can't vote for an Indian. You're talking
about what is her name? Ann Coulter said that. She said that to his face, like, I can't vote for you because you're an Indian.
To his face. So, but it's not about race, though, right? That's what they told us. MAGA told us that they're not racist.
We played that clip when Ann Coulter said that. We played that clip here on the show, and MAGA started throwing Ann Coulter under the bus because she had said the quiet part out loud. She wasn't supposed to say you can't vote for the dude because he's an Indian, so they started attacking Ann Coulter. But that is absolutely true. Because there's been 4 people in recent times that are of color that tried to run for president, and each one of them started getting attacked based on their race and getting otherized. Obviously, Obama suddenly was born in Kenya. Kamala Harris was suddenly a Jamaican and Indian. Vivek Ramaswamy, his actual, they started saying the same thing about him and going after his wife. And then Nikki Haley became Nimrata, and they started going after her too. So if you're a person of color and you run for president, you're going to get attacked and otherized. Because that's 2 Republicans and two liberals that did it. All 4 of them got hammered for that.
Well, this is the first time in history that a black woman was told that she ain't black. This is the first time in history in any election. I mean, that's like you have a Russian running to be president. He said, "But you ain't Russian." Like, what are we doing, Tim? Tim, what are we doing? When she gets pulled over, you know what they say?
You a black woman. Yeah.
Black female.
Her driver's license, yeah, her driver's license say black. I'm pretty sure her birth certificate. I mean, 'cause she was born in America, so they're not gonna put another country on her birth certificate. Her birth certificate is not gonna say anything about being Jamaican or Indian. It's gonna say she's a black woman. I mean, she's born in America. And oddly enough, when you start having blacks calling themselves African American or talking about race, the same folks that call Kamala Harris Jamaican and Indian, first thing they say is, we're all Americans. Why don't you guys cut that stuff out? But for some reason, when it came to her, they brought it up.
Well, not only that, when they were running, I'm talking about Kamala and Trump. MAGA was, man, we would help anybody. We would help anybody. You got people on here. I don't like to name drop, but I'm gonna just give you an example. My boy Jammin' Lou, he'll help everybody.
Oh.
Guess what? He'll help everybody, but he'll also deport everybody too.
Yeah.
They don't even see themselves that they could even be on that end of the spectrum. Because he feels like he done served this country, he feels like there's nothing that can stop him.
He thinks he's one of the club. He thinks he's one of the club.
The same spectrum of the rainbow. Yeah, you're on the same spectrum of the rainbow.
Yeah.
But you won't help anybody now. When Trump was running, MAGA swore that they was the party of love. They was the party of we're all getting along. We're a party of love. You need to come over here. You need to join us. Democrats are on a slave plantation. Y'all need to come over here. Now, it's so obvious what MAGA and the Republican Party is at this point because MAGA has took over the Republican Party. Y'all senators, y'all House of Representatives, all of them are cowards. They're hiding behind Trump.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't agree with that. I don't believe that all Republican politicians are cowards. I just think that they all are. Well, wait a minute. The way you're about to say that, there may be some validity to that. They're not going to fight against Trump no matter what. So when it comes to going against Trump, yeah, you are right. Now that I thought, they're not going to fight against Trump no matter what.
Look, see, and that was your color, and you couldn't allow you to fluff on that.
It took me a moment to think about the way you were worded.
See? You see? And then that melanin kicked in, and you was like, well, hold up, you know what?
But I do give Trump credit when I think he deserves it, which is why I always say I'm MAGA friendly. But yeah, when it comes, I think Trump even knows that his party is loaded with cowards when it comes to him. I mean, they're not going to stand up to Trump no matter what. Even when, I think this Venezuelan boat that was struck, I think there's a whole lot of Republicans that think that was wrong. Paul Ryan or whatever his name is, he spoke out against it, or Ron Paul, whatever the guy's name is, he spoke out against it, and J.D. Vance attacked him. But I think there's a whole lot of them that realize that is wrong, to just, blow somebody up with no due process, no evidence, no proof, and kill 11 people. But they're not going to stand up to him because they're afraid for their jobs and safety. So that's the coward part. That's the coward part.
Remember, Tim, we're at this point where Putin has already came over, smiled, got the red carpet rolled out by the United States military, rolled out for a war criminal. Then on top of that,
that's another one.
Next week he goes and plays footsies with 4 other dictators.
Yeah.
Trump right now looks like a BIH. We're not going to play around with it. Like Snoop Dogg say, you look like a BIH. And that's exactly how Trump looks. Trump was over here smiling and waving and like, look what I did. I made him, I had him come to me. He came to me. And guess what he did? Yeah, he came to you and then he didn't allow you to say shit.
Yeah, the whole Putin on U.S. soil interaction is embarrassing in my opinion. And I know damn well that if Obama or Biden invited Putin to America, and the outcome was as bad as it's been so far, the right would be saying that, Russia is laughing at us. So that part I agree. But real quick before we continue on, in regards to the Republicans not speaking out about the bombing of the boat in Venezuela, Takor88, friend of the program, says, for what? We agree, so why would we cause problems? No, you agree when you're doing it to somebody else. If some other country murdered 11 Americans in that same manner, where they didn't show any proof, they just said that these 11 Americans were involved in criminal activity, and they didn't present any proof at all, you wouldn't agree with that. You agree with it because we're doing it to them. But if they did something like that to us based on that same premise, you would be pissed off and you would be demanding action. No evidence, no proof at all. You can't agree with that. It would be different if we could clearly show. We didn't even show any type of packaging on their boat to indicate that they had drugs. You can't agree with that. That's just murder.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, again, just where it happened. I don't think we were cleared to do what the United States did under Trump. I don't think we were even clear for that. Just in location alone. Mm-hmm. Then on top of that, you can't, where it happened, you can't say definitively that they were headed towards the United States either.
No, because it wasn't logistically possible in the boat they were in.
Exactly, it's a speedboat that only has so much gasoline in it and can go so far.
Yeah,
and where they were at again was nowhere near the United States. So how can you definitively say that's where it was headed? You can't.
I think it's like I said earlier. If Trump says it, people are going to take it as face value without questioning it. I do got to move it on, Stick. But yeah, I think it's because Trump said they're drug dealers. They don't need much more proof than that.
So check it, Tim. Last word. So I just ran down the Putin thing. And just like I said, people thinking that Putin came over to discuss Ukraine. He really didn't discuss Ukraine. He came and he steamrolled Trump. But how do we know that time that they weren't in front of cameras and they were talking, whether it would be in the limo or whether it be in that little room that they were in for I think it was 3 hours or whatever. Who's to say Putin didn't give him the rest of the plan of how to become a dictator? Look, I see that you are already stationed. You station these people here, here, and here, where you strategically need to go here, here, and here. Now, if you go to Chicago, you know what you're going to have to expect, right? You're going to have to expect those set people in the way that they're going to think where you're going to go. You're going to have to basically cause some infighting. So when you have Texas National Guard going to Illinois, where they're not from, to patrol without being invited, you're actually told don't come. You're actually told you have no right to be here. Now, it's not on the soldiers, it's on the people in the command above them. We're going to need somebody to pull a General Milley.
Wow.
We're going to need somebody to say, hey, check this out. This guy can't do that, so we're not going to do it. General Milley stopped escalation that we had with China.
Yeah, and they wanted to punish him for that.
Doing a goddamn thing.
Yeah, they wanted to punish him for that.
But guess what? He reserved the peace. If anybody needs a peace award, is General Milley, because he stopped that.
Yeah,
he got between it, broke that shit up, and then he was gone.
Well, he did violate the military code by doing that too, but fortunately for him, Biden pardoned him. I got to move it on, though, Stick. But yeah, he did do that, but he violated the code. Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. Thank you there, Stick. Before we continue on, tap the screen, get us on up to about, we're close to it. Get us up to about 90,000. We can certainly do that if you let your thumbs not be lazy. I haven't given my spiel yet, but I'm going to go ahead and give it now. We are MAGA friendly. I don't know why my hat fell down, but we are always MAGA friendly. We can be critical, but we're MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their comments. So if you like dialogue open from all sides of the aisle, going to ask that you take this time out to tap that like button if you're watching on YouTube, or Clapper. Follow the program if you're watching on TikTok or Clapper. Give your boy a sub if you happen to be watching on YouTube. We're here generally most weeknights. We believe in letting everybody speak. So even if you lean right, you can speak without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored by the host. I get more left-wing callers because right now in this environment, the show is more critical of Trump. But if we had a liberal in there, I'm sure there would be tons of shit to criticize about the left. There's no liberal in power right now. So you're going to get more criticism towards Trump. If Trump's administration was riding sky high, doing everything that he promised and America was blossoming, make no mistake about it, I would be the one that would be giving him credit for that, and the left would be hammering me, which is what was happening when I was chastising Biden, last year. But right now, under the Trump administration, things are not going sky high. So he's getting criticized in many areas, and of course, it is now the right that does not like hearing Trump being criticized, and they're tuning out or they don't call in as much. But understand, if you come across TikTok or Clapper, we'll bring you right up. The lines are open for you. We don't run from you because you got a difference of opinion. And we don't limit or censor your speech in any way, fashion, or form. That's why we always say we go left to Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. So if you favor that type of dialogue, yes, definitely. Subscribe to the program if you're watching on YouTube. Give your boy a follow if you're watching on TikTok or currently Clapper. This guy seems biased, but the left is. Whatever Trump is for, Dems are against. That's a fact right now. That is true. Most people on the left are against whatever Trump is for, and most people on the right are against whatever the liberals are for. However, I believe that securing the border is something that Trump did that's good. I believe that protecting the integrity of women's sports is something that Trump did that's good. I don't think it affects many people, but I don't believe in letting a biological male play against a girl in sports. I think that's a good thing. Everything he's done is not bad. I just think he takes pleasure in causing misery and anguish among others, and that's going to lead to him getting criticized quite heavily. Like, for instance, the picture I had up of him earlier with the apocalypse picture from Chicago. This is just done to piss people off. So you can't complain about Trump derangement syndrome when you're taking pleasure in doing shit like this. There's no purpose of this other than to anger people. That's the only reason you would do this. I want to find the people of Chicago, or have the people of Chicago find me and just make them angry. The whole goal of this is to simply make people angry. That is something I'm going to point out that is not becoming of any politician in the country. I just want to make people mad. Nothing to do with running the country, nothing to do with making America great. I just feel like going online and doing something to piss off a bunch of people. He does that all the time. He does that over and over again, whether it's putting pictures of Biden hog-tied in the pickup. And really the only counter that the right has is pointing out some comedian or somebody out in space that did something similar, which is actually no defense for President Trump. Kathy Griffin held up a severed head. I had one caller, I think it was Twisted. Well, Kathy Griffin, that ain't got nothing to do with him, though. That's not a defense for him. So some comedian did it, so the president can do it. So I do believe that's where the problem is, that if your goal is to make America great again, deliberately trying to piss people off should not be part of that. You're never going to make America great while deliberately taking pleasure in angering people. It was a con, Tim. The timestamp means something on the keyboard. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about timestamps or whatever. I mean, none of that takes away from what I said. Trump takes pleasure in pissing people off. I don't think that's even up for denial. Trump takes pleasure. What do you say, liberal tears, or what are the other phrases we use? You're trying to make people angry. There's no denying that. So if you do that, you're not going to likely have a great country doing that. You're not going to have people because people say, well, Trump could cure cancer, and they wouldn't give him credit for it. Well, you are taking pleasure in trying to make them pissed off. You think they're going to give you credit for doing stuff when you're constantly just bashing them for whatever reason you come up with? They don't want, I don't know what that means. When is the accountability starting for the whole damn bunch? Not for the next 3 years. I'm MAGA, but I can criticize him for being thin-skinned sometimes. If you're going to dish it out, you've got to be able to take it. That's true, but I'm just going to say this. If you're running a country of 360 plus million people, everybody's not going to like you. If you want to be president of a country where every single person in the country likes you, or nobody can criticize you, then go run a dictatorship. That's the only place that happens. If you want to run a country where people have freedom to speak, people are going to speak out against you. And the sentiment from Trump supporters, from MAGA is, well, if they say something about him, he should be able to attack them back. 350 million people. Attacks are coming from everywhere. You're going to spend your time in the Oval Office attacking all those people back? Threatening to take Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship and all this crazy shit you got to get involved in because you want to attack everybody back? That just creates a mess. But MAGA likes that stuff. MAGA loves that stuff. Personality wasn't a factor in my vote for Trump, though. Policies were, and I don't regret it. That's a strong statement, Trinity. And listen, I'll just say this. If you didn't vote for his personality and you voted for policies, quit harping on Trump derangement syndrome. Quit harping on liberals not liking the guy. You know why the hell they don't like him. Quit making it sound like there's something weird about liberals not liking the guy. When you're admitting, I didn't even vote for him for his personality. I know he's an asshole. Then quit acting like people should love him. If you voted for him based on his policies, then go ahead and admit the dude's an asshole. I just like what he's doing for the country. Quit acting like the liberals are crying about nothing. You do realize you're admitting his personality sucks. That's going to have consequences to it. I don't care if people leave because of Trump. Well, you can't really, so I'll just say this. You don't know who the fuck is leaving. You don't know how much innovation is leaving. You don't know what the people leaving might mean to America. You don't know what kind of talent is leaving. You're putting Trump above all of your American brothers and sisters. I don't care. I like Trump so much, I don't care what American leaves. It might be your fucking wife or your husband or one of your kids. I don't care. I like Trump so much, I don't care what American leaves. That's what you're basically saying. You don't know what you're losing yet. You can't just say you don't care. You don't know who's leaving. Might be somebody you actually care about, somebody that's valuable to the damn country. Twisted, 7-7. Good evening. Ain't nobody worth a damn is leaving. But if you think Trump is the best the country has to offer, you're gonna feel that way. Twisted, good evening.
What's up?
Not much at all, man.
How has Trump offended you today?
Wow, let me see. Has he really offended me? He didn't speak and say much. I don't think he's offended me today.
I got something to talk about. You guys have been talking about it at Speedboat all night.
Sure.
And I've been laughing over here.
You're always laughing. Go ahead.
I mean,
everything Trump does is a joke or you thought the apocalypse thing was funny. So you find all of it funny.
Okay. Have you actually looked at the news about it lately?
Yeah, we even played the clips.
You played the clips of the video that Trump showed. But
what are you getting at? What are you trying to get at? What are you getting at?
Venezuela's claiming it's fake.
They're claiming what the blowing up of the boat is fake?
Yeah, they said it was AI. And not one single family member, not one single name has come out. There was a Venezuelan official, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, that said it was all fake.
I haven't heard. Okay.
And you told me the other day that there were family members, but I couldn't find anyone that looked.
I actually found that. Let me see if I can find it again. Relatives, friends confirm identities of Venezuelan men. I typed in Venezuelan families of those killed in U.S. boat strike. And the first article that comes up, Trinidad Guardian. Hold on, I'm giving you what I got. The Trinidad Guardian is titled, this is 4 days ago. And by the way, the next article is a Facebook article that says Venezuelan village mourns 11 killed in U.S. strike. I mean, their families have come forward. What are you talking about?
What search engine are you using?
Google.
Because I couldn't find squat. I even looked through AI.
I typed in here's the actual pictures of the people. This is pictures. Oh, I don't know what you were looking at.
What's this news article you're looking at? Now I gotta go look this up.
This is in the Venezuelan. This is the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. So I guess that's their media or whatever. Trinidad and Tobago Guardian.
So why are Venezuelan officials saying it's fake?
I don't know. I mean, people lie all the time. We bombed. We killed. No, it ain't, because we killed a whole lot of folks that were part of the Wagner group, and Russia was saying it didn't happen. Sometimes they don't want to admit shit. I mean, sometimes that happens all the time. They lie and say stuff didn't happen.
But why wouldn't they want to admit? That doesn't make any sense.
Because they promoting because they're
upset about it.
Well, we said, why wouldn't they want to admit it?
It's fake.
Because they're promoting an image of strength to their people on how they're going to be able to handle the United States, and they're mustering up so many soldiers. They may not want to admit they got their ass kicked. Just like Saddam Hussein didn't want to admit he got his ass kicked. Sometimes they lie to their people.
But it's not them getting their ass kicked. That's
Yeah, it is.
They're people. That makes absolutely. If we're talking about military targets, I can understand that. But we're talking about just people, right? How does that make any sense?
How does it make sense that they may lie to their people? Governments do that all the time. I mean, I'm hearing that under President Trump's first term, we tried to get onto the North Korean mainland and blew up a fishing boat full of people. They didn't tell us about that. I mean, governments lie to the people all the time.
Oh, so they're lying to...
Yeah.
Make up your mind, man. So who's lying about it then?
I'm saying, first of all, I'm not aware of what you're saying is true.
So look up Venezuelan official claims it was fake.
Okay, because like I said, if they got, based on what you're saying, like I said, anytime there's articles with actual pictures of the deceased, I don't know how long they gonna keep it from the Venezuelan people. I mean, I was able to find it pretty damn quick. I mean, they got pictures of the dudes who died. So I don't know what that person is telling them. Sometimes they lie in the beginning. I don't know why though. Why is my Google not working? Okay. What did you say to type in again?
That Venezuelan officials say it was fake.
They might say it was fake to call him a drug dealer.
Yeah, Facebook.
But yeah, they definitely have come forward
On the same day.
Well, maybe they hadn't found out what happened yet. Venezuelan officials claim a U.S. video of a boat being bombed in the Caribbean is fake and was created by using artificial intelligence. The accusation came in early September 2025. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. This is on AI saying it, but they don't say which officials, but it does say Venezuelan officials said it. Let me see here. Communications Minister Freddie described a video shared by Trump as cartoonish and suggested it was AI generated. I don't know why they would lie about it other than, like I said, they may not want their because let's put it this way, if the U.S. bombed 11 innocent Venezuelans, the Venezuelan citizens are going to expect them to act on that. So maybe they may be lying because they don't want to actually have to confront America about it. I mean, but it ain't. We both know it ain't AI. We know it's for real.
Well, wait, hold on. So now you're saying, okay, because, all right. But here's the thing. So they were outraged, okay, about it, right?
Okay.
And then they're saying it's fake.
I don't know if Venezuela officially is outraged about it. I don't know how the government of Venezuela acted. But like I said, there is reason for them to actually have people killed and lie to their people about it. There's always reason to do that. Governments lie to their own people all the time.
Okay. But it still wouldn't make sense why. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it does. Okay, let me explain it to you again.
They're saying it's fake, but they're saying it's real, and you know.
I haven't heard anybody say it's real, other than the Trump administration. I haven't heard anybody from Venezuela say it's real. According to you, they said it's fake. I haven't seen anything opposite. I have not heard any reports coming out of Venezuela until you told me about this.
So it's fake?
No. It's real. I believe the Trump administration. I'm saying, though, that the Venezuelan people...
Wait. Time out. You said you believe the Trump administration?
I believe this, yeah. They don't lie all the damn time.
Well, why do you believe this and not that they were drug dealers?
Because there's more than just Trump saying it, first of all. I mean, like when Trump said he won the 2020 election, you didn't have any other Republicans really saying it. That's just him saying that by himself. This case, there's more than Trump just saying this. So that makes me believe it more. Even when you got folks like Paul Ryan and stuff saying it's wrong. There's a lot more people that's saying this actually happened. That's why I believe it. Usually when Trump tells a lie, it's just him and a few people in his administration saying it. The rest of the Republican Party goes silent on that shit.
I don't know, man. Half your people say Trump does nothing but lies. So
He tells a lot of lies, but nobody lies 100% of the damn time.
according to your some of your viewers there, they say that's all he does. There's nothing but lies.
Bro,
So who's
I've
say
never,
what's true or not?
I've never seen a human being on earth that lies 100% of the time. Nobody does that.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. You know that.
But I can't.
Again, we can't determine
I
what's true
can't.
and what's not.
I can't
You're just
speak on
going by,
anybody. I can't speak on anybody. Anybody that claims Trump or any other politician lies 100% of the time. I can't speak on that. That's something crazy that they think. But nobody lies 100. Trump tells a lot of lies. I'm not going to pretend like he doesn't. But he does say some of the things he says is actually true. He don't lie all the damn time.
Okay.
Okay. But in this case here, to explain why they might lie, with so many U.S. vessels damn near surrounding Venezuela, at least to the north and east and west of it, they know that if they tell their people, they may know, I'm speculating here, they may know that if they tell their people that 11 innocent Venezuelans were killed by America, their people may be demanding action. And they know they can't do that, so it's gonna make them look inept to their own people. So as opposed to doing it, just don't tell them it happened.
So they don't have TVs or internet in Venezuela or what?
They may deny that shit too.
Well, I mean, if the rest of the world's saying it and their government is, you think they're going to believe who they're going to believe?
Well, and it could end up getting to the point where they stop believing their own government. Just like in this country, Trump said he won the 2020 election. A lot of people believed it, but as time has went on, they stopped believing him.
Okay.
People lie.
But I'm just saying, you're saying that nobody in Venezuela would know outside of their.
No, I'm not saying nobody.
That it happened at all. Wow, we don't know anything about this. What are you talking about? Okay. Hey, I'm standing on the beach. I got some binoculars. I can see those ships out there. What are those? Oh, I don't know. Hey, I mean, you must think they're pretty stupid.
I'm just simply saying, if you can convince people to storm the Capitol based on no evidence of Trump, there's stupid people out there. There's stupid people every damn where.
We're not talking about U.S. citizens here. We're talking about Venezuelans. You're saying that they're that dumb that they don't have internet, they don't have TV, they can't see things happening. They can't look off the beach and see warships and go, oh, I don't know.
Well, I would tell you this. I think the Venezuelan citizens do not have anywhere near as much access to worldwide media and shit as Americans do, and they fell for Trump talking about he won the 2020 election. So I don't want to call the Venezuelans stupid, but if Americans can fall for some shit, so can they.
What? How do you know that? You just made a statement saying that they don't have access.
I know for a fact with the amount of money in this country where you can buy VPNs and all kinds of shit, Americans have more access to information globally than they do in Venezuela. I mean, do they have cable TV and all that in every household like we do? Of course not. We have more access to shit than they do. And we were able to fall for this guy saying he won the 2020 election. So I'm sure the Venezuelans can be tricked too.
You're going to keep going with the 2020 election. Is that all you got, man?
You trying to say, I think the Venezuelan people...
I get where you're coming
Okay,
from.
then let's stop there and move on then. Then if you get it, let's stop there and move on.
What else you got?
Fourth Amendment rights. It's laughable.
Rights.
According to you, it's
What's
laughable.
the Fourth Amendment say? What's the Fourth Amendment say?
Unwarranted stops, unwarranted searches and seizures.
Incorrect.
Really? What does it say?
Read it.
No, tell me.
It doesn't say unwarranted. It does not say unwarranted. It says unreasonable.
Okay. Race is reasonable?
That's unreasonable is far different than unwarranted.
So race is reasonable.
In that context.
No, it ain't no context. Stopping somebody because of their race ain't never in what context?
What? But you're always assuming that they're stopping people by race and nothing but.
It ain't
That's race. It's all about race.
It ain't got nothing to do with what I assume. That's what the judge ruled, is that they were stopping people by race.
Did they say only race?
No, they said
the only thing race?
No, everything they gave was bullshit. They gave location, they gave language, they gave job. None of them are a legitimate reason to stop somebody.
How do you know?
Tell me, when is it reasonable for the cops to stop you based on what you do for a living?
Really?
I'm asking. Tell me.
How many jobs can you have that are paid by cash that you can pay somebody under the table?
You can pay somebody under the table to do damn near anything. You got people who pay doctors under the table.
Right.
So what are you talking about?
Can you do that in every industry? Can you do that for a large group of people?
You can do it probably in about 80% of the industries in America. If you got enough money, you can find somebody. You can hire cops and pay them under the table if you got enough money. Yeah, just about every industry there is, you can hire. So you can hire politicians and pay them under the table. Yes, just about every industry you can do that.
Small businesses, sure.
No,
You're talking about
any business.
Yeah, no. Most corporations, you're not going to get a pay under the table job at Walmart or Target or at a corporate grocery store, but a local one maybe.
Well, Walmart is not an industry. If you're a clerk, that's the industry. Not working at Walmart is not an industry. You can find plenty of clerk jobs that'll pay you under the table. If you're stocking shelves, there are plenty of stocking shelf jobs where you can get paid under the table. Walmart is not an industry.
Okay, well, where do illegals normally work?
All over the damn place.
Really?
What are you getting at? I don't understand. You confuse me. What are you getting at?
Because you guys espouse illegals to certain jobs.
That
They're
ain't
either
true.
hanging outside of a Home Depot, or they're picking fruit, because you guys always could. They're always out there picking produce, picking fruit. They're working on farms, so because that's a job that would normally be attributed to illegals. You've said this 1,000 times. They take the jobs that Americans don't want. So if I look at those jobs, right? According to what you
That
said.
ain't reasonable. I get what you're trying to say. That ain't
Why is it reasonable?
Because
Why is it reasonable?
Because plenty of Americans work a lot of those jobs too.
You said they don't.
I said Americans don't want it. You know how many Americans work jobs that they don't want to be at? It's all over the. I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
You said they work the jobs that Americans don't want.
Yeah.
Period. And don't take.
Well, first of all,
we need to, that's a liberal talking point.
First of all,
they take the jobs that Americans won't work.
I think what you're doing is you're taking things people say and taking it to the extreme, to 100%. What just like a lot of liberals say that Trump lied. That don't mean he lies 100% of the time. A lot of liberals say that they do jobs no Americans want. That don't mean 100% of them do. There are plenty of them that are doing jobs that Americans would want.
And I never said 100% of them.
Then what you're saying makes no sense there.
I'm saying that there are certain jobs out there, especially in California, where you're going to find illegals working more than legals.
I don't get your point, though. You're trying to tell me...
Well, I mean, what's not to get? What don't you get?
What's not to get is you're not giving me any legitimate excuse for stopping somebody and, demanding that they show ID or searching their car or searching their person. Because you got a job that illegals have, that gives me the right to search you. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Did they say search or just ask for ID?
Any of it. You don't have a right to do that either.
Why?
Because your Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches. That's not reasonable.
To you, it's not reasonable.
Yeah. And this is why I keep saying...
The Supreme Court disagrees with you.
Yeah.
Whether we agree or not, whether we think it's okay or not, okay, the Supreme Court said it's okay.
Yeah. And this is why I keep suggesting that under Trump, you're going to lose rights, is because they're going to keep agreeing with some of these wild-ass assertions that, well, you don't need that right, or we agree you should lose that. I mean, you're losing rights. Now, all of a sudden, you can literally stop and search somebody.
You're not losing anything.
Yeah, you are. Your Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and being frisked and shit. And you're coming up, well, they actually think if you're race, yeah, they're not gonna stop anybody white and do that.
They're not gonna stop anybody black and do that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. When the minute he starts deporting Haitian migrants, because right now they were supposed to be gone by September 2nd. A judge stopped them from doing that. That's going before the Supreme Court. The minute he gets the right to deport Haitians, there goes your black people.
We're talking about California here. So where are those Haitian migrants at?
We ain't just talking. We're talking about America. We're not talking about California. We're talking about America.
The Supreme Court case was about California.
You think this is only going to happen in California?
I don't know what. I'm just saying that's.
You think Trump only wants to do this in California? You think ICE only wants to do this in California?
Well, I don't know. I'm only telling you what the court case said.
Okay.
You can think otherwise.
Yeah.
But that's what you do, Tim. You take it to the extreme.
I don't have an answer
One
for
thing
that.
happens, you're like, oh my God, it's everything. You can't keep doing that same shit.
I don't have an
You're
answer
bitching
for
at me
that.
about it, but you're doing it yourself.
Okay, you trying to tell me you do not know if ICE, who is deporting people from all over the country, if they don't want to have the right to stop people like they do in California. We want to do it in California, but we don't want to do that in Chicago. You're trying to tell me you don't know that?
Well, let's talk about Chicago for a second.
Real quick. I'm about to move it. Go ahead.
What that last guy said really pissed me off.
You didn't laugh this time?
Because, no, that actually made me angry because he's an asshole. And I'll tell you why.
What did he say?
Because he said they don't want to go into Chicago. They don't want them in Chicago. We don't want them here. So is he saying nobody in Chicago wants them there? Or is it just the majority doesn't want them there?
The representatives that they voted for to represent them in government don't want them there.
Okay, what about the people?
The people voted for those people to represent them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. But if
At
there's
that point, it don't. To me, that's like saying that they're. Hold on.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
Okay, that's like when people say that there are Ukrainian citizens that want to be part of Russia. It doesn't matter what you want at that level. You vote for a politician to represent you. Once you vote for that politician, what he does is what you get. You don't get to keep coming back and try to override his decisions. They're not going to be part of Russia. Chicago is not going to work with Trump. You voted for people that don't like Trump. So that's what happens. It doesn't matter if there are people in Texas that want to be part of Mexico. You think Governor Greg Abbott is going to let that happen?
Okay. You done?
Yeah, completely.
Okay. So if citizens in Chicago say, we want this, they are the minority, yes?
Very much
And you're
so.
saying you can't have it. You cannot have what he's offering because we said so.
Yeah.
We are the majority and we said no.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Is that America?
Yes. If a politician we don't like what Trump is doing. We can't do anything about it. I mean, you realize how many millions of citizens don't like the tariffs, don't like what he's doing right now? Ain't nothing you can do about it. You voted him in to represent this country, and he believes in tariffs. He believes in sending the military in. Ain't nothing you can do about it until the next election. That's how it works in Chicago as well. The people don't get to speak until the next election.
They don't get to speak until election.
There are millions of people. Trump is doing stuff right now. You're talking about the city of Chicago not letting the military in. Trump is doing stuff that millions of American citizens do not like, even on the right. Farmers losing their farms and shit because of the terror. There's nothing they can do until the midterms or the next election. That's all. You got it. You put him in. He represents you. They put those politicians in Chicago. They're representing them until the next election.
So those citizens just suck it up.
Same thing the farmers got to do. Yes, wow. That's how it works.
So they're not allowed safety and security if they want it because
I hear you.
The majority says so.
I hear you.
Well, that's how it. Let's talk about the farmers too for a minute here because that's another thing. You know, you had that guy that interview the other day where the guy said like 6 different things about reasons why their farms are having trouble, including last year. Now, I don't know if you know about farms or not.
No.
Or how they operate.
No.
Do you know what Farm Aid is?
You talking about, I remember there was a charity thing for Farm Aid. That's about all I know. I don't know anything about farms.
Started in 1985.
Yeah, what about
it? Every year since.
Did Trump get rid of that?
No.
Okay, I'm surprised him and Elon Musk didn't.
Oh, you're surprised.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
Every single year. This is not an uncommon thing. USAID. King Fing, shut the hell up. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Go back to your throne, the one you shit in. Anyway, that's the only throne he's sitting on. And you know it as well as I do. Anyway, farmers struggle every year because what they do have to do at the beginning of the year is they have to take out a loan for fertilizer, fuel, and everything else they need to start their planting. Okay, and they hope that the crops they sell by the end of the year is enough to pay off the loans and make a profit. That's the problem.
Okay,
this is not a new thing. This has been going on for decades.
And I'm going to respond by saying this. It doesn't matter if there's a Democrat in office. Damn, they took the lead over the Bears by a lot. Damn, the Bears about to lose. Anyway, it doesn't matter if there's a liberal in office or a conservative in office. If people are losing their farms, they're going to blame the president, whether it's his fault or not. Just like with gas prices. A lot of people will tell you the president has nothing to do with gas prices. If they're good gas prices, the president's going to get blamed for it. If they're bad, they're not. So even though you're saying it's been going on for years, that's how it works. If these farmers were doing poorly under Biden, you guys will be blaming Biden, and so would the farmers. It just happens to be under Trump.
Well, if you listen to what he said, he was saying he was doing poorly under Biden too.
Okay.
That's why I said it's not a new thing. And I understand what you're saying. Gas prices are generally not the president's. The president generally does not have anything to do with gas prices. But it's the same thing, though. I mean, I get what you're saying. They're going to blame Trump.
Right.
But
I mean,
at the same time, I'm telling you that it's not the way it made it
well,
sound.
yeah, but it's, perception is reality. Just like you said, he was doing poorly under Biden. Well, they were blaming Biden when they were doing poorly under him. So they voted him out. They get Trump now, and they're still doing poorly. So he's going to get blamed the same way Biden was getting blamed.
That's because largely farming has to do with the weather.
I didn't hear all of you conservatives. I didn't hear no conservatives this time last year saying Biden is not responsible for what's going on farms. They were blaming Biden. All of a sudden, Trump gets in there and suddenly, this happens every year. It really ain't the president's fault. It's too late for that now.
No, they were blaming Biden for egg prices.
They were blaming Biden for everything under the goddamn sun. I got to move it on, Twisted, but they were blaming Biden for everything.
I deal with wholesale produce every day. Okay,
I'm just telling you, I did not hear anybody suggesting that.
I can tell you.
I'm just telling you, a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying that is not Trump's fault, you were blaming Biden for it. A lot of stuff they saying is not the fault of the president. When Biden was in office, it was his fault all of a sudden. Now that Trump is in there, you're trying to explain it away.
I was trying to tell you why they were actually blaming Biden for egg prices. Was because the CDC ordered, I can't know how many millions of chickens destroyed because they were worried about bird flu. That's why egg prices went through the roof.
Okay. Well, like I said, everybody it does.
But the weather does affect farms wholeheartedly because when we have a wet year like we did this year, my produce prices have gone through the roof. That happens every time we have a wet summer.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just simply saying perception is reality. And Trump, just like with the Epstein shit, everybody was bashing the liberals for not releasing that stuff. Now Trump is in there, and there's a million reasons why it can't be released. If you let this stuff happen when your opposition is in there, you can't be surprised when they start blaming you under the same circumstance. That was the time to speak up and say Biden ain't responsible for all of this stuff. But you guys had no problem blaming Biden for everything under the sun. So if that same shit happens under Trump, he gonna get blamed now. Because you didn't speak out then. You can't speak out now.
I remember everybody blaming farmers for their farmers.
They were blaming Biden for everything that was going on wrong with the country. Crime in cities, all of that stuff was Biden. You don't hear people saying that Chicago crime is Trump's fault. They were blaming Biden for it. So this is what I'm talking about.
Wait a minute. Wait, no, I have heard people claim that Chicago crime is Trump's fault.
Well, then he should get credit for it. And he should get credit for it because the right blame Biden for it.
He wants to go in and try to stop it. And you're like, no, you can't do that. No stopping crime. We need our crime. You can't have safety and security. You have to wait till the next election. Screw you.
I don't.
That's what you're telling people. Go to the south side of Chicago and go ask them, what do you think? And if they say, yeah, we want him here, and you say, no, tough shit, you have to wait till the next election, you think they're going to be like, what?
Let's see how that goes, because I'm not aware that most folks in the hood in DC is like, damn, I'm glad the National Guard is here. I'm not here. There's a few, but most of the folks in DC is not walking around saying, I am so glad the National Guard is here. Keep them here forever. I'm not hearing that. So let's see how it goes in Chicago.
Well, you said it was going to go badly in DC, and it hasn't.
It ain't went good or bad because the people just lay low. He ain't stopping crime either, by the way. The criminals are just laying low. We're paying $1 million a day to have them there. Is that really, shit, what were they doing? Taking purses and stealing copper and shit? $1 million a day, are you really saving anybody any misery?
Well, what's a life worth to you?
I don't know. Nobody seemed to care about it.
Apparently, it's not worth $1 million.
And it damn sure wasn't worth shit when it came to giving people universal health care either, was it? That would have saved tons of lives. You guys were not in favor of that. So life ain't worth a damn to you either.
It's not guaranteed under the Constitution, but safety and security is.
All right. I got to move it on. Appreciate the comeback. Thank you. Twisted. Always a pleasure. All right, moving on with the comments, though. I mean, we are paying for them to rake the park. Yeah, they doing cleanup and picking up garbage and shit. But I do want to point out what he said, because a lot of folks say that. Look, it costs $1 million a day for the National Guard to be in D.C., but at the end of the day, if it saves even one life, then it's all worthwhile. And as I keep pushing back with him and other folks, you didn't seem to think that way when it came to giving people universal health care. You realize how many Americans' lives would be saved if we had universal health care? I would submit to you there's a whole lot more people dying due to lack of health care than there are gun violence in Chicago or D.C. I mean, Chicago, a big-ass city like that, has about 700 or so murders annually. You're losing way more people than that because of lack of health care. Way more people than that. And that's losing them to outright death. Illnesses and shit, people with diabetes that may lose a limb because they couldn't get you. Way more people than that are being lost because of lack of health care. But that's not a big concern. As he says, well, that ain't in the Constitution, so we're okay with that. That's where you need to amend the damn Constitution at. If you're willing to do whatever it takes to get the National Guard into Chicago, why not do that to get people health care? And that would actually apply to a hell of a lot more people than just what's in Chicago. That would be nationwide. Think about all the lives you could save with that shit. So it really ain't about saving lives. It's about sticking it to the people in Chicago. Just trying to rebrand it or package it into something else. Handsome Major Boo says Trump lies in his sleep. And he lies to Melania. Hello, what the fuck, dude. He lies in his sleep. Damn, I don't know about all that, but he does say a lot of things that are not true. And continue on, Tim, there's a reason why they made Area 51, because there's aliens like Twisted, my last caller, Twisted, that are insane. He has a crazy alien up his ass. Damn. Doesn't know what he's talking about or doing what Trump lies on every TV. Look, I'm not, like I said, like I told him, Trump doesn't lie all the time, but he lies a whole lot. And the thing about it is, when Trump lies about something, he keeps repeating it over and over again. So he'll tell you one lie and it's just covered over and over and over and over again. Like the election, he's still talking about winning the 2020 election. That is, for the most part, almost proven to be a lie. At this point, you're not going to see any evidence going forward that Trump won the 2020 election. Now, I don't think you'll ever see any significant, solid evidence that Trump won that election. It will go down in history as something he stated and never proved. That's how the 2020 election will go down in history as. So, yeah, when he tells a lie, he keeps saying it over and over again. I don't know how often he talked about them eating cats and dogs, but he said it more than once. That ain't true. I mean, so, yeah, he does say a lot of things that are not true. Farmers really lost market and workforce. Yeah. Well, the deportations hurt a lot of people. You're not saving money on Medicaid. You're going to end up losing Medicaid. The $4.5 trillion that Trump put us in debt took care of us ever getting out of debt. Damn. Look like the Bears just got a touchdown. I think so. But they're going to lose this game. They only got 2 minutes left to go, and they might be 24-27. When COID came, I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, like I said, if saving lives was that big of an example, let me just say it this way too. Not only would universal health care save more lives than what he's doing in D.C. and what he's doing in, threatening to do in Chicago or these other cities, I will also say that Trump is transactional. Do for me, I do for you. Treat me wrong, I get your ass. That's kind of what Trump does. He loves his supporters and loyalists. He really hates his enemies and critics. So the idea that he would be focused on making a city crime-free and doing things to beautify a city, he wouldn't start with Chicago. He wouldn't. The politicians of Illinois don't like him. I'm talking about Governor Pritzker. The mayor of Chicago does not like Trump. And most of the citizens do not support Trump and do not like MAGA. If he was trying to beautify an American city, he would not start in Chicago. Not to mention it's not even the most violent city out of the union anyway. So why would you go and beautify a city reduce the crime rate and all that to a city full of people that don't like you and ain't gonna ever give you credit for it? Why wouldn't you start in a city where, like Memphis or St. Louis, where you got friendly governors and shit like that? So people who like you, they're not going to take you to court to try to stop you. So Trump is transactional. He looks out for those who look out for him. He wouldn't start in Chicago. This is not about beautifying Chicago or lowering the crime there. It's about sticking it to the people there and making it clear who's in charge and who's the boss. That's what it's about. He's just using crime as a reason to legitimize it. Just like Venezuela, where many believe it's all about the resources and the oil, but he's using drugs as a reason to legitimize it. I want to do something, so I make up. Let's say, for instance, I want to, the police want to get access to your home for some reason. Maybe you got a home that's in the way of a new shopping mall being built or something, but you won't sell your house. Now all of a sudden they're finding marijuana plants on your property. They're coming up with excuses to do what they want to do, which is take your fucking house. They're just making up reasons to do it. Government does that all the time. What Trump is doing is making up reasons to do stuff that he already wanted to do. He wants to go into Venezuela, so he's creating excuses to do it. He wanted to go into Chicago to stick it to the liberals, so he makes it, well, crime is there, so just use crime as an avenue to get in. But he is literally making up reasons to do what he already wanted to do. And that's probably going to be somewhat of the method of operation, the MO for the Trump administration. Your clueless dog says, Chadrick, okay, fair enough. State why though? Let me know why. PH, those same anti-maskers are the same people masked up now with no issues, snatching people off the street. It's a great point. The right made all kinds of jokes about people wearing masks and shit like that, and they suddenly seem to be totally in favor of ICE wearing masks. Here's the problem with that, and I'll go back to the box. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 110. Thank you, folks, for showing support. Those who are, thank you. I did have a TikTok cap goal. Feel free to show your boy some support. Very low. Doesn't require much. Give your boy a few TikTok taps. It helps out the program. I gotta solicit that every now and then because I don't do it, and it is what it is. But yeah, he's making up excuses to do what he wanted to do anyway, which is go in cities or do, if it comes down to really wanting what Greenland had, he would make up an excuse to go into Greenland. He's just coming up with reasons. JPT Farms, thank you, appreciate that. Only 24,000 jobs created, laughing my ass off. Yeah, his job numbers are terrible. Shouldn't surprise anybody, though. He's been on a firing spree since he became president. So it shouldn't surprise anybody that there's ridiculous job losses. Tamar Bowles, good evening, Tamar. 97,000 federal jobs were cut. Yeah, I mean, if for every one of those federal jobs that were cut, you got trickle-down effects. That guy stopped at Starbucks on the way home. He got fired now. He's not going to Starbucks anymore. He stopped off at the gas station once a week. He got fired, so he's not going there. So all them other businesses that those federal employees patronize, they're hurting too. Tamar, good evening. Tamar, are you there? Okay, apparently that caller is not there. I believe we served together. Who are you talking about? Lots of videos of town meetings on YouTube. Yeah, though, some of the town halls, they've been trying to avoid them because they know they're going to be hostile. The farmers are not doing well. As my last caller tried to suggested that, well, it was happening under Biden as well, whatever. Well, they were blaming Biden. But now Trump promised if you put me in there, things are going to get better. And they're not getting better for a lot of these folks. Before I take my next caller, I did play this earlier. And because we talk about promises made, promises kept. We know Trump talked about ending the war in 24 hours. That didn't happen. And he's talking about lowering groceries and things like that. I don't believe this happened in most parts of the country, even though some folks are claiming their groceries are down. But we're talking about promises made, promises kept. And he's making promises.
Price of energy and electricity in half. Ready? 12 months from January 20th, to take office on January 20th, your electric bill, including cars, air conditioners, heating, everything, your total electric bill will be 50% less. We're going to cut it in half. And we have it. We have the power to do it because we have.
So he's saying in 12 months, your light bill and all of that's going to be 50% less. Promises made, promises kept. Just like with the Iraq war in just like ending the Ukraine-Russian war in 24 hours. That promise ain't gonna be met. What is January? Like 3 months from now? October, November, December, 4 months from now? That ain't gonna be met. There's no, gas prices have went down some. That's the price of gas. That ain't the price you're paying for electric bills at home is went up. So his promise is not going to be met. Now, I will tell you this, chances are MAGA's going to say, well, but gas did come down something. And by the way, gas prices are nowhere near 50% of what they were under Biden. They're nowhere near that fucking cheap. Gas is still hovering around $2.70 to $3 a gallon. It was nowhere near $6 a gallon on average under Biden. So that 50% promise is just wow. That is not going to be met. Not even going to be close to being met. But Bill O'Reilly put this out today. I played it at the beginning of the live, and I'll take a few callers after this. But this is O'Reilly. Now, O'Reilly's obviously a long-term friend, not just associate. He claims to be a friend of Trump for 30 plus years.
According to a Wall Street Journal poll, have lost faith that hard work leads to success in this country. 1,527 adults in the poll. It's a fair demographic breakdown. First question. The way things are in America, people like you and your family have a good chance of improving your standard of living. Do you agree or disagree? Strongly, someone agree, 25%, low number. Neither agree nor disagree. It means they can't understand a question, 32. Somewhat strongly disagree, 42. So 42% of the people say, look, no matter how hard we work, we're not going to improve. Tough. Second question, which of the best describes your personal financial situation? Comfortable with no major worries, 29%. Adequate, getting by, but not much else, 43. Stress, can barely afford the basics, 19. Falling behind, can't keep up, 9. Okay, next question.
I want you to hear.
Thinking about your financial situation, how confident are you?
This is not much longer, but I want you to hear his analysis at the end of this. Obviously, these numbers are bad, and this is the Wall Street Journal, so this is not some left-wing publication, but I want you to hear Bill O'Reilly's statement at the end of this. It's not but maybe a minute.
That you could buy a home if you wanted to. Extremely very confident, 23. Somewhat confident, 20. That's 43% of Americans believe a home is within reach. 56 say can't get the home. Big number. Next question, thinking about your financial situation, how confident are you? You have enough savings for your retirement. Extremely very confident, 20, somewhat, 28. Not very, not confident at all, 52. Final question. You think the American dream, that if you work hard, you'll get ahead, still holds true? 31% say yes. Never held true, 23%. Once held true, but not anymore, 46. Now that poll is bad news for Donald Trump because it reflects on political, non-political people giving up hope somewhat. And what Trump is trying to do is return prosperity, make it easier for people to get a home, a car, a comfortable life, by changing the way this country does business. That will take time. Okay, these tariffs and all that will take time to drive down oil prices, food prices, all that. Americans are impatient. They are giving up. So if things don't improve, I'd say within the next 6 months, midterms, gonna be tough.
Now that's O'Reilly, who's a big Trump fan, Trump supporter, saying that the midterms, based on these numbers, it's going to be tough for him. Probably why you're seeing them saying, "I want 5, seats in Texas and things like that." They kind of realize that. But you see the polls that people are saying that they're not doing as well. Now you heard O'Reilly state that the tariffs and stuff, this stuff is going to take time, and if things are not corrected in 6 months, Trump's going to have an uphill battle in the midterms. The problem is Trump promised to do stuff fast. He didn't promise, short-term pain for long-term gain. 24 hours when he in the war, he was going to get your grocery prices down really quick. He's talking about cutting your energy bills in half and stuff like that. He didn't promise what these tariffs and all of this stuff. He didn't promise this stuff. That's why people are not happy, is because he got in there and he went left of what he promised. Real quick, 5 Alarm Fire. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. I'm a mod for Mr. Strange Facts and the Angry Ginger. I like that name, Angry Ginger. Would you mind if I reach out to them and promote your content? Absolutely, please do. Go for it. Certainly, I go on other programs all the time. So yes, feel free to do so. And thank you for that, by the way. So continuing on, Angry Ginger. That's a cute name. The only way Trump wins is if he cheats and bullies. You know something, based on what he has done since he became president, I think he's lost support in a lot of categories. I mean, obviously the white male vote is still going to be for Trump stronger than ever. I think he got like 91% of the white male vote. He won the female vote, and he also won the Hispanic male vote. Now, he improved with black males. He did fairly well with Hispanic females. He did terrible with black women, though, like 7% or something like that. My guess is, other than the white male vote, he's probably going to decline. Well, he's not running again, but the midterms are going to be a reflection of his presidency. My guess is, in all the other categories, he's dropped. Maybe minuscule in some areas, could be significant in other areas. I don't know how many white women he lost, for instance. I don't know if it's, because the white women supported Trump. But, in terms of black men, my guess is that's down. I cannot imagine the Hispanic community not being way down. Now that you're talking about it's okay to stop people solely based on their race and their language, if that doesn't have brown written all over it. So my guess is with the Hispanic community, he really has lost votes. But we'll see what happens in the midterms. Going back to the box, though, continuing on with Arshafine. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Midterms are over a year away, Tim. 6 months is just rhetoric. You hope it is. You hope it is. There's no way to know if it's just rhetoric. You got an echo. King fan?
What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? So what do you think Bill O'Reilly got it right? That the midterms might be an uphill battle if stuff don't turn around?
Of course. It's going to be an uphill battle because that roach, it's like that roach you had on before ain't going to be able to do shit about it. That roach can't do nothing about it, man. It's over for him. He know it. The Republicans know it. They all just feel ashamed of what they did.
What are you, who or what are you referring to as a roach?
That roach you had on earlier before. Twisted. That motherfucking roach, he only come out in the darkness. He'll stay in the comments not saying shit, but as soon as you give him a chance to speak, you turn the light on, he gets to running and dancing like a motherfucking roach.
You can't.
Roach.
You can't. That's disrespectful, King.
Fucking what? Do you think I sit on the throne that I sit on? Okay, so like I said, that roach you had in the comments earlier. Right. I can give less than a damn about people like him, because he's fake as hell. Okay, he's fake as hell. All of that bullshit he just said about the farmers, it would have helped Trump if he would have kept USID running, because all them farms ran off of motherfucking USID and the contracts they had with the fucking government to supply crops to other countries. But that would have helped. But that roach don't know that. See, but he deal with small businesses all the time. He run a restaurant. Like I said, that roach, or maybe I should say rat. Because he probably from New York or something. He'll swear to God, he's from Sicily.
I don't know where he's from, but you're calling the man a roach, damn. Look, Twisted, listen, he's MAGA. He has his own opinion. It's different than yours. I don't know if I would call the guy a roach, but his opinion is slightly different.
Bunch of roaches. Just like they hid for decades, doing all that racist and bigoted bullshit. Now all of a sudden, Roach General, or the Roach in Chief, turned on the light, and now they all dancing. Now they can bring all of their racism out. They can be racistly roaches how they want it to be in the first place. I say let them. That way we put a scarlet letter on all of them roaches, and then let them go about their business.
But do you think the country would be better off if people who do harbor racism were allowed to freely speak? You think the country would be better off under that?
Yeah, so we can find out who their racist asses is, and we know where them racist motherfuckers is at. That's great. Make them wear a scarlet letter.
Well, they're not going to wear scarlet leather, but I don't know if I agree with
There's
you
a
on that.
difference. There's a difference in between dissenting ideas, different ideas, and just bigoted and racist opinion. I'm not adverse to a person having a different idea than I do. I go through that all of the time. But your racist rhetoric and your horrible fucking ideas, no, I don't think that's okay.
What did you hear him say? What did you hear him say that would make you suggest he's racist?
What did he say that would make you suggest that he's not?
I mean, he favored Trump.
I've listened to plenty of things that he said. His ideas sound like they're rooted in racism. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like I know you got to fluff sometime for the, you got to fluff for the camera or whatever. But
No.
come on, man, damn well.
Let me make it clear. Let me make it clear. Let me give you my definition of the art of fluffing, as you guys often say. Sometimes I will ask you folks questions when you say something that is hard-hitting, passionate, or wild. Even though I may agree with you sometimes, not always, but sometimes, or even know what you're talking about, I will still ask you to orate what you're stating so that everybody else can understand. Like somebody might say Trump is racist. I might actually already feel that way. But I'm going to tell you, I need to hear what makes you say the guy's racist. I'm going to ask that. So when you say my last call and said racist shit, I'm going to ask you. It's not fluffing. It is asking you to prove or at least state and clarify your statement.
Well, him not giving a shit about black people, him not giving a shit about anybody else but himself, the idea that the shit he says doesn't attend to anything but himself. That's what makes me think he's racist.
You believe that Trump? You believe that Trump doesn't give a shit about black people?
Oh, Trump don't give a fuck about nobody unless you got money. Trump is a populist. We all know that. Trump don't care about nobody unless you got millions of dollars in your pocket and he can either benefit from it or you can give him some. That's the way he's definitely all about being a profiteer. If you got an opportunity and he can use it for him or to help his ideas, then he'll use you. That's what users do. Otherwise, he don't want that shit to do with you.
You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser.
The crazy thing is, and what you're saying sounds awful, but you're making it sound like he don't even give a damn about his supporters.
He don't. Dude, do you remember when he said, if you're still talking about the Epstein files and you're still believing that BS, then I don't want you as a supporter. You don't want none of your supporters. You don't even want to try to sway them. You don't care. As long as it ain't got nothing to do with the files, right? See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, he don't care about that. If he cared about his supporters, then he would have looked at the demographics of farmers or ranchers who voted for him in any of those states, and he would have known that it was a bad idea to get rid of USAID or USAID. He would have known that before he started deporting all of these quote unquote illegals, that it will hurt the hospitality industry, that it will hurt small businesses and small farms. He would have known that, wouldn't he?
But the thing about it is, I think there are so many Trump.
Hold on, let me finish my statement. If he had even did any background work into the Hyundai factory that he busted the other day with 400 something employees in it who actually probably did have their paperwork, maybe that would have went a little bit different.
Fair enough. Shooting Scoot has the quote of the day that matches what you just said. I don't care about you. I just want your vote.
That's exactly
He
right.
did say that. He
That's
did
exactly
say that.
right.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah.
But in regards to you suggesting that he doesn't care about black people,
Calling them losers, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. The first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
So how do you respond to that?
You don't want to hear my my response to that.
Before you finish that, Handsome Major Boo said, yes, Tim would appreciate that. Make sure you spread the program. And remember, Left of Bernie Sanders having dinner with Q. Handsome Major, you are certainly a fan. Thank you very much for that. So, more than anybody since Abraham Lincoln, King, what say you?
You know, motherfucking well, he ain't did that much of black people. The idea that he would even let that come out of his driveling little sloppy ass mouth, just it makes my stomach turn. You've done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln. Then I'm gonna say something that I just seen in the comments from Miss Mo Better. Thank you, Miss Mo Better, because you know I sometimes it's so many things he does that you can't quite put your finger on all of it. You just have to call it racism because it's so much shit. Tampering with black history in the museums of the Smithsonian. That's not racist. You're trying to whitewash history. You call all black kids out of Baltimore criminals and thugs. They're born into it.
I'm not afraid. Let me separate those two. The whole notion that kids born in Baltimore are trash or something like that he said from birth. Yeah, that's racist as hell. But taking stuff out of the Smithsonian, to me, that's like a two-piece puzzle. Just simply taking black history out of the Smithsonian and talking about we need to stop focusing on the horrors of slavery. It's terrible, but that alone is not racism. Where I think it becomes racist is when you're taking stuff out of the Smithsonian, but then renaming bases and stuff after the Confederates. So you're now coming across as not necessarily favorable to talking about slavery, but you're pro-Confederate. That's when it starts to look racist, because he was doing those things at the same time. That's when it looks like a 1-2 punch.
Again, I say, whitewashing black history, whether you like it or not, is not your fucking job. Yeah. You don't have the right to go in and change history to make it fit your white is right, black is wrong narrative. That makes him racist. Making sure he's a part of the system that systematically oppresses black people does not inherently, that doesn't sound inherently racist, because removing history books out of education, saying you don't want to teach this because it's CRT, saying I'm going to change it because you guys focus too much on slavery, and slavery wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Huh? Slavery wasn't that bad.
Hey, now listen, I can't say anything without crossing into the territory of fluffing. It's the stuff you're pointing out sounds terrible. I try to be able to see both sides of issues. There is no both sides to that shit you're talking about.
It's so horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
If at any time that Barack Obama, Lord forbid, Barack Obama did anything like that to any of the white history books, the damn Confederates and them Triple K motherfuckers would have came out of hiding and waged complete holy war on Barack Obama. And if Biden had said anything about it, they would have swore to God that he was just being what they call him back in the day, an anger lover. I'm just gonna say
a ninja lover.
Yeah. That's what they would say. And it would be on fire. It'd be a whole that might would have kicked off a race war if they had did that. But he goes into the Smithsonian. He starts knocking down statues or knocking out parts of, and we're not gonna fund you, and that's supposed to be okay. That don't make him fair. Because to me, that's extremely racist.
Yeah, I gotta move it on. I gotta part ways with you, but I'll just say it. Not only is it not okay, but a lot of this stuff, unless America just falls apart, if America continues on the way it's always been, a lot of the moves he's making are going to be changed. And my guess is they're not going to keep the Department of Defense as the War Department. A lot of those Confederate bases may end up getting renamed back. What you're talking about at the Smithsonian, that ain't going to last. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. The Gulf of Mexico is going to come back. There's a lot of things he's done that probably are not going to last past the minute you get a liberal in there, they're going to flip a lot of that stuff, because most of the stuff he did, King, is via executive order. So it's pretty easy to flip it. He didn't get Congress to do any of this shit. So it's going to be pretty easy to flip this stuff.
That was literally exactly what I was about to say. Yeah. All that shit he did with that Sharpie is by executive order. Yeah. And all they're going to have to do is go, Congress is going to open back up and change all of that shit back, because it doesn't make any sense. And he's a bumbling fool, just like we all knew he was. Yeah. Okay? The only people that believed all the lies and the bullshit was MAGA. And he said it before he really even started running. I would run Republican because they don't have very much common sense. He's proven that fact because they all believe him like he's the Messiah. He's our savior. He's Christian. Man, that motherfucker ain't Christian. He ain't nothing. He's a glob of white glue with orange on it that literally just does his own thing. If it don't fit, you must have quit. And that's what it is with him. He don't care nothing about nobody, man. Nothing but the green buck. That's it. And maybe not even the green buck, because he ain't American, so he might be going into the Swiss francs. How the hell do we know? We don't know.
King, I gotta move it on. Swiss francs. Thank you for coming through, man. Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program real quick. Wow. Listen, I do believe that because Trump has done so many things via executive order, like me and my last caller were talking about, it's going to be pretty easy to reverse some of that stuff. And because some of it is highly controversial, it's going to be targeted first. Like I said, the Gulf of America, nobody agrees with that. Nobody out of Canada, out of Mexico, out of the Caribbean, all of the countries, nobody agrees with that. And that's also what I said earlier in the program. Trump likes to do things just to piss people off. That has nothing to do with making America great again. But MAGA's like, well, it is the Americas and it's not Mexico, so let's just go ahead and change something that's been the same way since the 1500s. I think I have a Gulf of America shirt around here, and it says when the Gulf of Mexico was established. And I think it says 15 something. That's been called the Gulf of Mexico since the 1500s. So, and the same thing with the Department of Defense. That's been that way since, probably almost 100 years, since the 1930s. So, other than just doing that stuff to piss people off, it's going to get changed back. If you wanted to make America great again, I don't know why you would start there. To me, if the goal is to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, a lot of that shit is just an exceptional amount of waste. How much money does it cost to change all the signs on the highway and stuff to say Gulf of America versus Gulf of Mexico? Now, the right is like, that's money well spent. That's insane. Same thing with, going from the Department of Defense to the Department of War. All the stationery, all the paperwork, all this has got to change. That's just a waste of fucking money. That's just to change the name of something. Same thing with the Confederate bases. Now, Biden wasted money. I guess some would suggest changing it from the Confederates, but we can look at the notion that naming bases after races is not very popular, but for Trump to rename it back, once again, a ton of money being spent. So I don't, if the goal is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, spending all this money on renaming shit, I don't see how that is of any value to the American people. That to me is more just like stroking your ego to show people you can do whatever the hell you want. Ain't nobody, whatever the grammar is for that. No one in America is benefiting by changing from the Department of Defense to the Department of War. That's not benefiting any American. That's just, look, I can do it, so I'm going to do it. Same thing with the Smithsonian stuff, what my last caller was talking about. It costs money to do all of that stuff. None of that stuff is benefiting anybody in America. It's just him doing, basically throwing his weight around, and people are having to pay for that stuff. You and I as taxpayers, we got to pay for all of that stuff he's doing. But you got a problem with sending money to USAID or helping out the Ukraine, but you're okay with your money going to that? There is no return on that whatsoever. Tell King Finn he is excellent, and tell him that I got a 40-ounce waiting for him. How do you know he drinks 40s? King, I know you're listening. Handsome Major Boost says, tell King he is excellent, and tell him I got a 40 waiting for him. 40 ounce, not a 40 caliber, 40 ounce. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Remember, kink ankles, Trump ain't shit. Oh my Lord. King, you did see that, didn't you? Real quick before I continue on. Thank you, Handsome Major Boo. 5 alarm fire. I'm new here. Is the background out of comedy or support? I don't live in a bubble, and many content creators I push are pure facts, no fiction. Well, my background, in addition to a background that talks, that pretty much symbolizes what is currently going on in the country, which, because I got, we used to have a picture of Kamala and Biden up, and then became Trump and Kamala. So whoever's leading the country or seeking to lead the country is who's up. But you're going to see MAGA hats all over the program because we're MAGA friendly. I do believe, even though I lean a little bit left of center, I'm not gonna deny that, but I do believe that conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA, do not often get a fair shake in the media. A lot of media outlets want to ban and censor them and not let them speak. So you're always going to see the MAGA hat on my program because here I want you to know the program is MAGA friendly. We don't have to agree, but I will damn sure protect your right to free speech as far as I can. So that's why you see the backdrop. You're going to always see a MAGA hat because MAGA's welcome here regardless of what their opinion is, regardless of how they feel, regardless of what they have to say. They will be entitled to say it here without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored by the host. So you'll always see the MAGA hat. Isn't it odd they keep installing senile old folk to run our country? I'm starting to think they just need a puppet to run the show. Well, they don't think that Trump is old. Well, they think he's old, but they don't see him as senile. And by the way, Trump, actually, his stamina is not bad. I mean, yeah, his ankles are starting to swell up and things like that, but he still can get on camera and talk to the media for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, he comes across stamina-wise as significantly younger than Biden. So they don't see Trump that way. Maybe the folks on the left maybe do, but the folks on the right don't see Trump as being senile. There's no denying he's old. I mean, he's almost 80 years old. There's no denying it. What is odd, though, is that the Trump supporters actually are walking around talking about Trump 2028. So they believe that this guy can be president all the way up to about 87 years of age. That's insane. That is insane. The most open president in your lifetime. I don't agree with that, vegan warrior. I don't believe that Trump is the most open president. I think he's the most talkative president, and I like that. But I don't believe he's the most open. The Epstein files, he ain't opening that shit up. He didn't open up his taxes for quite a while. I mean, he's not open. He says what he wants you to hear and how he feels. He'll tell you what's on his mind. But yeah, he's not open. I mean, there's plenty of things he was doing that was not open. Like I said, his taxes, he definitely was trying his best not to release his taxes. That's something that traditionally all presidents have released without any hesitation. He was clearly trying not to let you see what was on his taxes. So I don't want to go into the notion that he's just transparent and open because he's not. He speaks to the camera quite a bit. That's great, but that don't mean what he said is always true. So I think he's really good at, he's a good salesman. I'll say that he's a really good salesman. Best in the business. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, he's a really good salesman. But that don't mean what the salesman is telling you is always true. It just means he's able to encourage you to purchase it. And then win catching charges for tax evasion. And then wind up he did wind up catching charges for tax evasion. Yeah, he was trying to hide him. My guess is listen, I'm not trying to say the guy's a PDF or whatever, however you guys want to say pedophile, but the way he is gung-ho about not releasing the Epstein files or whatever is related to that, even if he's 100% innocent, you got to understand why people speculate. I mean, just like with his taxes. I mean, even if he's 100% innocent and there's nothing bad in there, why are you fighting to hide this so much? Either something is in the files that make you look bad or guilty, or you know somebody that's in the files that is bad and guilty, and you're trying to protect. If you truly are in favor, because he's talking about bringing down crime in Chicago and saving lives, why not help these people out that got raped and all of this shit? Why not look out for them like that? So for some reason, you don't want this information to go on social media and state, stop talking about Epstein when nothing of significance had been released. Why would you do that? So regardless of whether he's got bad stuff in there or not, you can't fault anyone for thinking that based on his actions. He is being incredibly evasive and not wanting that information to get out. It's hard to deny that. And we should have way more information on that by now. And if your only defense is to bring up Biden, then you're admitting it's true that Trump is not releasing it. Well, why didn't Biden release it? That doesn't defend Trump. We thought Biden had dementia and was a senile old man. So why are you going back to him? You voted Trump in because Trump was, within his faculties. He was going to do a good job. He talked to the American people. So when he doesn't do a good job at what he promised, you go back to the senile old man? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, what he's doing on the Epstein stuff looks shady as hell. It just whether he's doing something wrong or not, it looks like he is. Let's try it again with Arsha. Good evening, welcome to the program. We have to support him as an American. You have to support your country. He didn't support the last guy as an American. In the comments, Young Savage says we have to support Trump as an American. You have to support your own country. Trump did not support the last two liberal presidents whatsoever. So even though I agree with you, we should support whoever our president is, you can't fault people for not supporting a guy that did not do what you're suggesting. He didn't do it. He was not even doing what you're suggesting. Arsha, good evening.
Hey, so I want to say one thing about the Trump Epstein thing. So, you know, when I think it was, the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, one of those papers came out about, you know, Epstein's birthday book and how Donald Trump had a drawing, and he says, I don't even draw, it wasn't me, it's a lie, it's a hoax. Hold
on one second, hold on one second. Hold on, hang on. Handsome Major Boo, you says, Tim, where is my fine ass bitch Arsha? You're listening to her now. Go Arsha.
Wait, who said that?
Now you want to know, huh?
What? Okay.
That's handsome Major Boo. He refers to you as fine ass. He wanted to know where you are. Well, here she is. You're hearing her now. Go Arsha.
Okay, thank you. So then today, of course, you know, the Epstein estate released the book and gave it to Congress, and Congress affirmed, yes, in fact, and showed it to the public today. So, number one.
And he denied it immediately. He denied that was...
Well, in my opinion, okay, I'm a mom. And to all the moms out there, to all the parents out there, if my child, or if your child, if you're okay with this kind of behavior, then you're a bad parent.
What do you mean? What kind of behavior?
The kind of behavior where you lie and you lie and you lie and then finally you get caught in the lie. Because I always tell my kids, just tell the truth the first time when I ask you, and it won't be as bad. Why can't this man tell the truth the first time?
Well, he is a politician, Arsha. Politicians are not known.
No. Hold on.
Is he not?
We're not talking about just one thing. We're talking about a man who is he's a wealthy person. He got $500 million from his dad. He earned another $500 million from The Apprentice. He pays way too much money for shit. He's always in the hole.
Well,
but the problem is, Tim, and you know, I don't know if you listened to any of the women that showed up to Congress last week.
Yes, I did. I did listen to it. That was compelling testimony.
It's not about the president. It's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It is about powerful human beings that have taken advantage of these women, and they truly have not had justice. Every single person that is on that list, that would be justice if they're held accountable. I don't care who it is. If Bill Clinton's on there, hell yes, lock him up. If, you know, if Mitch McConnell's on there, yes, lock him. I don't care who it is. It's about the people. It's not about the party. It's not about the powers that be. And in my opinion, like one of the victims said, it's not about Trump. It's about people that are more powerful than Trump that don't want this out.
More powerful than Trump? Who the hell would that be?
Come on, Tim. There are some rich motherfuckers out there. You really think Trump is one of them? No, he's not. He can't even get a peace talk or a ceasefire in Ukraine. No. There are people out there that are, yes. And they said, I believe the victims. There's a powerful thing, and they also said that if the list doesn't come out, they're going to compile their own. and show it to the public.
Assuming they
which I
live,
hope-
assuming they live to do that.
Right. So that's my thing. But what's the other topic? Because that was just my answer to the person.
Well, I mean, the Supreme Court gave. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
The Supreme Court gave Trump a big victory today in regards to going after immigrants. Did you hear about that?
I did. They paused they didn't give him a victory. They said for now, which if we've seen some of the things, they come back not necessarily in his favor. Some do come back in his favor, and that's fine. Because that's their job. I don't have to agree with it. But
This is a victory, Arsha. This is a Supreme Court. I mean, they can now.
it's a victory for now, and a bunch of brown people that look like they don't belong here are going to be stopped and pulled over and detained, and you're going to have to prove.
Yeah, and he now, with it being the Supreme Court, he now has the ability to do that for the rest of his term. He can stop brown people. But he really can do it to black people too. We just know right now we're expecting it to happen to brown people. But as I told Twisted, once he starts deporting all of those Haitian migrants, it's going to spread to black people.
Tim, I look more brown than black. I do not want to be walking down any street where ICE is.
No, I don't either.
I'm so glad I'm out here in Hawaii.
Yeah. Do you guys have a lot of? You don't get illegals out there, I mean, because you're an island. You don't have to deal with that, do you?
No, that's not true. So, no, it's not illegals. We have documented workers. Okay. So we have a lot of coffee here on the Big Island, Kona coffee. We have all because of all of the volcanic soil. So they had an initiative in a lot of these coffee farms to reach out to the Latino community to come over and work on the farms, which they did. Because and this is not a racist thing. This has nothing to do with anything. Most of the landscapers and such here on the islands, or even if you were to look on the mainland, are, people southern of the border and some Latino descent. Not saying that white or Caucasians don't do it, but here it's more like Filipino Samoan, and then Hispanics or Latinos. And so they had them come, legally. They were documented. They had work visas, and ICE came and raided one of the coffee farms and took them all.
In Hawaii. Wow, I didn't know that. Damn.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't know if every American understands this, but none of us that are sitting here have any idea what it is to be a frickin' farmer, or let alone an agricultural picker and pruner in a field. And we're not going to figure it out tomorrow. And we're not going to figure it out the next day. And when people figure out, wow, this work is really fucking hard, they're going to go back to their... Yeah. We can't replace these things. And that's a great skill to have. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, if we're going to deport immigrants because we want to give them back those jobs back to Americans, people, you need to start going to college for agriculture. Screw business. Screw,
Well, it could be a case of, just like before we had immigrants, for a time, you had free labor and sharecroppers and things like that. That might be the goal, is to replace the immigrants with,
But they were still migrant workers living in worse conditions than they were now. I've seen a migrant farmer.
Prisoners.
Have you seen a migrant farmer?
Yeah, but I'm saying prisoners. You can, as a condition of your sentence, you got to do this shit.
There are dog houses that look better than a migrant house.
Yeah. It's like a slave's quarters.
Yeah. Are we really trying to go back to that? Maybe.
What do you think the again means? Make America great again. I don't know what we're trying to go back to, but the word again is obviously talking about going back to something.
I don't feel great, Tim. Do you feel great?
I don't see nothing happening right now that makes me jump up and down and say, yay, Trump. No. I mean, you know, like I said, he's. I don't see where the economy is great.
I only see these mass deportations hurting everyday Americans more than helping us.
Like I said, if I seen something coming from, he secured the border and protected the integrity of women's sports, but that doesn't make a difference in my life at all. It's an accomplishment for Trump, but yeah, like I said, if I seen something Trump was doing that was really great and was affecting my life positively, I would give him credit for it. I'm not seeing anything though. I'm not seeing anything.
And I'll say one other thing. You know, the great thing about federal jobs that have been flourishing for the Black community since the early 80s. It was a way for them to get pensions and get nice jobs and things like that. I want people, any Black American, I don't care if you are African American, male, female, I don't care. I want you to go and look and see what the Black unemployment rate is right now, because 70% of that workforce that was released and fired by Doge were African American.
I've heard that.
We're now at one of the highest unemployment rates since Trump took office the first time.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is how is he making those families great?
I don't think people are concerned with those families.
Well, if you're Black, I hope you're concerned.
Well, let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. I think what's happening is everybody was for the people who were for Trump. Everybody was for President Trump under the guise that, yeah, that might be bad or that might be bad. We need to do this to make America great, but do it to them. People were voting in favor of Trump doing a bunch of things because they never thought that stuff would happen to them. And that's the problem, is a whole lot of people are starting to find out, no, it's going to happen to you too. If all of the Americans where this stuff is happening to, like the federal employees they got fired and the immigrants, like the Cubanos and the Venezuelans that supported Trump and now their family, if all of those folks knew ahead of time, no, he means you too, I don't think he would have won.
Right. And I want to say to any African American or brown person, person of color in America that voted for this man, within the first 4 months of his administration, 70% of the people that you might identify with lost their jobs. Not only that, but look who he has fired. Not because they've done anything wrong, but they all happen to be either women or women of color.
Or gay, or the LGBTQ community. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to actually still be like, yeah, as a bro, like as an African-American male, if you still stand, he's not helping our community. He's trying to erase our history.
Well, the love for President Trump, and I talk to Black MAGA often. Black MAGA is still very happy with Trump. I talk to them all the time. I haven't seen many of them waver at all. Black MAGA really thinks he's still doing a good job. So,
well, they're stupid. That's all I got to say.
All right, Arsha, but that is our president.
Listen, at the end of the day, we all have our cross to bear, and eventually you're going to have to choose the right way, and sometimes you're not going to have the same friends, and that's okay. So out there, people, do what's right.
Well said, Arsha. Thank you for coming through. All right, appreciate it. In Hawaii, I need to be in Hawaii where she's at. Looking in the conversation, Miss Handsome Asian Boo says the Epstein files that came out to speak, or the Epstein women, better, the Epstein files women that came out to speak, they should do that for P. Diddy. They should give him protection like they're giving Ghislaine Maxwell, and where is his protection? Kim Kardashian, a lawyer. That's one of the things, you mentioned the protection that Ghislaine Maxwell is being given. Like I said, Trump is doing, even if Trump hasn't done anything wrong, with the Epstein, let's say Trump hasn't done anything with children or underage folks or whatever, and I stated even if he hasn't done anything wrong, he's looking guilty as fuck because he's being so evasive and things like that. One of the biggest things I think that he's doing, in addition to posting, stop talking about Epstein, which made it clear you don't want this information out. Upgrading Ghislaine Maxwell from maximum security to a federal camp with no explanation. Why the hell would he do that? Why the hell would he do that? That, to me, looks shady as hell. In addition to stop talking about Epstein, when you know everybody wants to know what is going on with Epstein, for you to just take her out of a maximum security prison and put her into a camp, for what? What has anybody, this comment is even aimed at my beloved MAGA, who don't think Trump done anything wrong. Have you heard any reason whatsoever for why he took her out of maximum security and put her in a camp? Has anyone heard any reason for why they did that? Because that's pretty fucking suspect. Not to mention when he was asked if he would pardon her, his response was, I haven't thought about it, but I could. Whatever happened to, hell no, this is a serial pedophile. I would never think about doing something like that. You're on TV talking about crime in places like DC. You're talking about this Ukrainian refugee that got stabbed on a commuter train by this gentleman on my screen, but you can't even answer whether you would pardon a serial pedophile or not. I'm just simply saying, I'm not accusing him of doing anything wrong, but it looks shady as hell, the stuff he's doing. How did this? And then when asked about everything I don't know anything about it. They're doing this on their own. Does anybody believe that? Trump is totally in control of his Justice Department. You think that guy would go and interview Ghislaine Maxwell and Trump is totally uninvolved, don't know anything about it at all? Just upgrade her from maximum security to a camp and he ain't got no part in it, nothing. He hasn't made any phone calls and said, what did she say? Did she implicate me? He did none of that. I mean, this is why I say when folks say that, well, he's being transparent. No, he's lying on that stuff. Some of that stuff is obviously not true. Obviously not true. Trump uses his Justice Department like they're his own personal lawyers. There's no way in hell that them folks are going in there interviewing him. Not to mention he sent his own former lawyer in there to interview her. And yet he's going to respond, well, I don't know what came out of it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. It's just making up stuff. So, like I said, regardless of whether you think he did anything or not, if you don't see that as looking shady, and I see in the comments, Laureen Jewett says, God bless President Trump. Well, perhaps, but that ain't got nothing to do with whether he abused children or not. That ain't got nothing to do with that. It makes no sense whatsoever that he's being so shady on the Epstein stuff. And obviously folks like Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, they don't change their tune completely. They were all gung-ho about getting this stuff. He gave them cabinet positions and just oozed all of that eagerness out of them. I lost my jobs, plural, under Biden, says Zero. Well, here's the difference though. If you lost your job under Biden, it's because of, I suppose you're blaming him for poor economic performance and that cost you your job. If you lost your job under Trump, it may be because he fired you directly. That's a big difference. That's a big difference because Biden didn't intend for the economy to get fucked up. Maybe he made bad decisions and it happened. Trump intended to fire you. So it's a big difference. If you get fired under Trump as opposed to getting fired under Biden, that's a big difference. He intended to fire you. Not only that, but then he sent letters to these people by way of Elon Musk suggesting that they got fired for performance, and many of them never even had a performance review. Just made up some shit and fired them. Just made up some shit. And I see Kyle says, shut the fuck up. Shut the hell up. STHU. I haven't seen that one before. He saw the problems and wants to correct the issues. So is he correcting the issues by sending Ghislaine Maxwell to minimum security? Is that what he's doing? He sent a serial pedophile to minimum security, a camp, did not explain to anybody why he did that. So far, nothing of value, literally nothing of value has come out of the interview he gave with her. Why did she get upgraded like that? Is that not something to ask questions about? Is that Trump derangement syndrome to ask why the hell did you upgrade this serial pedophile? No, has he stated Have you seen any indication that anything of value came out of that interview with her? Why is she in minimum security? Why is that? Or is that wrong to ask that? Somebody said, thank you, Cal. Appreciate that. You Democrats make shit up all the time. He never messed with kids. The Democrats made the Epstein files a grenade. They took out what they needed and altered it. Okay, Timothy Langham says, you Democrats make shit up all the time. He concludes by saying he never messed with kids. The Democrats made the Epstein files a grenade. They took out what they needed and altered it. You're skipping over a bunch of things. First of all, there's a whole lot of Republicans that were all over the Epstein file stuff before Trump became president. So it wasn't. In fact, this time last year, most of the people talking about the Epstein files were Republicans. This time last year, before Biden left office, your Dan Bongino's, your Cash Patels, your Megyn Kelly's, your Candace Owens, your Ben Shapiro, most of the folks talking about the Epstein list lean right. So your idea that the Democrats made it a grenade doesn't resonate with reality. You don't think about this time last year. How many Democrats you heard talking about the Epstein files? They were certainly being mentioned. Everybody from Tom Hanks to Oprah Winfrey were on the list. You guys were saying all of that shit. You were coming on the program talking about it. Tom Hanks was on it. Will Smith was on it. Obviously, Bill Clinton. It was a list full of liberals. That's what you guys were saying this time last year. Trump gets in office and suddenly it's time to stop talking about it. So, no, it ain't the Democrats ain't the ones that made it a grenade. The right is the ones that brought it up. And then when Trump got in there and started acting shaky, the Democrats piled on. Once Trump became president and he reneged on what folks thought was his promise to release the files, the Democrats saw the opportunity, and then that's when they made it a grenade. But the right was the ones that originally pulled the pin on that shit. The Democrats just seized on the opportunity. And the right would do the same thing if everything was in reverse. If Bill Clinton was coming to office and it was acting like Trump, the right would be piling on him as well. That's just how politics work. Trump created that opening by acting the way he's acted. And when you say that they made all this shit up, none of that stuff explains what I just been asking for the last 5 minutes. Why did this woman go from maximum security to a camp? You can blame anything you want on a Democrat. Democrats did not take her out of maximum security and put her in a camp. How do you explain that? I'm talking to even my most ardent Trump supporters, my beloved MAGA, the ones that really think Trump is doing a stellar job. How do you explain why he did that? We didn't get anything of significance out of that interview. How do you explain? We're talking about, like what you see on my screen here, criminals being let out of jail and going on to reoffend, people not being properly punished for their crimes. How do you get a serial pedophile out of maximum security and put her in a minimum security facility only a few years after she's incarcerated? How do you explain that? You can't, not only, I won't say you don't get to blame it on the Democrats, you can't blame it on the Democrats because the Democrats didn't do that. If you don't have an explanation for that, that's where your problem is. Democrats took their names off the list. Who told y'all that? Trump. Yeah. Like I said, but I don't think there's anything they can say to explain away why she's in a minimum security prison, though. There's nothing they can say to blame that. You can blame whatever you want on Democrats. That happened from Trump's administration. And we don't see where anything came out of that of value. You can't blame that on Democrats. That has to be blamed on Trump. Trump is a grifter. He's made millions off the MAGAs, but they are too thick or dense in the membrane to understand he's using them. I'll leave it at that. Vice President isn't the only person to bring Trump in those. She lives rent-free in maggots' heads. Like I said, I've been asking this for about 5-10 minutes. Nobody gave an answer for that. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in minimum security prison? Why is she in a minimum security facility? If you don't have an answer for that, it is what it is. Anyway, I do appreciate the 140,000. I do got to step away real quick before I do to Lewis. They can't give a reason to him. No, they can't. No, they can't. That looks like a quid pro quo. She got put in minimum security for some reason. That didn't just happen for nothing. Lewis, good evening. I think we lost Lewis to sleep time. Why were the Tate brothers brought back to the U.S. and freed? I don't know. I know who you're talking about. I don't know what's behind that, but like I said, why is Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in minimum security when we got nothing out of that? Nothing. She is helping Trump. Yeah, she's helping Trump, Jen. I bet she is helping Trump. And Trump can't tell you how she's helping him, because then she would be actually convicting him. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I appreciate the 140,000. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. It's a rough show sometimes. I know the right don't like to hear Trump criticized, same way the left don't always like to hear folks on the left criticized, but right now we have a right-wing president, so most of the attention is going to go in that direction. So if you favor dialogue like this from all sides of the aisle, what do I always say? Follow the program if you're watching on Clapper or TikTok. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. We're here most weekdays, Monday through Friday. By the way, I've been working on getting another camera to get this up, but we are on Rumble, X, and Truth Social. I want to start doing live streams on either Truth or X. Rumble, I'm not a big fan of. Rumble also leans right, but I don't think anybody uses that shit that much anymore. Somebody let me know if you use Rumble at all. But there's plenty of MAGA on X and Truth Social. So I do want to start doing live streams, probably on X, for the simple fact that I think the censorship coming from the Trump administration is pretty strong. I don't think Trump tolerates criticism very much. So I do believe if I were to do live streams on Truth Social, I might start encountering problems. I appreciate the hat and mustache. Somebody showing your boy some love. Help me reach that goal. Thank you there, Daniel. Appreciate that. Not hat and mustache, but the TikTok cap. Thank you there. Appreciate that, Daniel. I only had a small goal up there, but thanks some of you folks that show your boy some love. Tim, I can tell you it goes deep with Ghislaine Maxwell, just like P. Diddy has. It's plain and simple to the dark web. I'm sure it goes deep, but to reward her out in the open like Trump did, Jesus. I mean, he didn't even hide it. I mean, he gave her a huge reward out in the open. I mean, you couldn't have snuck some money on her books or something? I mean, you paid her in front of everybody. Everybody knows she's in minimum security. You didn't take her from maximum to medium. You went all the way to a camp. I mean, she basically is like at a college dormitory now. I mean, you paid her out in the fucking open. And MAGA's like totally silent on that. And MAGA's not really complaining about that at all. I don't know why. Because they were the main ones complaining about children being abused. And when they thought Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey and Hillary Clinton and all them were on the list, they were gung-ho about getting to the bottom of it. Trump pops up and rewards the pedophile, and suddenly they're silent. You know, well, why didn't Biden release it all of a sudden now? Biden didn't give her, max minimum security, damn. So suddenly they don't care about it no more, though. Not one person caught and convicted. Yeah, I don't know why he did that, but it ain't hard to speculate. He wouldn't do it for nothing. You wouldn't just put a serial pedophile in a camp for nothing. There's something to it. You're just not going to be told. And the fact that you're not being told from a guy who everybody's suggesting is transparent speaks volumes. That speaks volumes onto what is probably there. Whether he did something or not, I can't say. But him rewarding her like that, to that significance, and not telling, it certainly leaves room to speculate. You're not out of pocket. You're not, that ain't derangement syndrome to speculate that there is something there for him to do that. He didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart. So there's probably something there. I'm not saying he did it, but he might know somebody that is on that list. See, Osby, thank you for the TikTok cap. Appreciate that. Me and my group, we going in circles. Okay, I don't know what you mean. He's protecting his friend zone. Yeah, either he himself violated children or he knows someone that did and he's protecting them. One or the other. It's one or the other. You wouldn't put her in minimum security for no reason at all. And that whole notion that the government just did it on its own and you don't know nothing about it, that's a flat out lie that nobody is believing. Nobody's believing that. His Department of Justice using one of his own former lawyers that's decided to put this woman in minimum security, and he ain't got nothing to do with it, don't know nothing about it, ain't talked to nobody. I mean, some of the lies he tell are not even elementary. Like, is there anybody, even his supporters, anybody believe that? Even his supporters are like, no, I don't believe it. So why protect her, but not the victims? Because the victims may be victims of him too. Charlie says, so why protect Jazane, but not the victims? No survivors, not the victim survivors. Well, yeah, maybe he don't care about the victims. I mean, if the victims are trying to suggest that he was part of it or his friends were part of it, he don't care about them. Just like he don't care about Eugene Carroll or anybody else that's claiming he victimized them. He don't care about them. Minimum security might be more dangerous for her. Prisoners don't like, minimum security ain't more dangerous than maximum security. No. And by the way, the goal of what he was doing, listen, nobody gives a shit about the quality or comfort for a pedo. He seemed to have done it. I don't know why. But now you don't take somebody at a maximum security, put them in a minimum security camp, and claim that that's more dangerous. You get a lot of freedom in minimum security camps. And also, while I agree nobody likes pedos, the freedoms you get in minimum security are not something you want to fuck up. You don't want to get in ridiculous fights and skirmishes and have them bump your ass up to medium or maximum security. You get a lot of freedoms in minimum security. They not trying to get in drama in minimum security. That's a Martha Stewart type shit. I mean, that's just like a dorm. You ain't trying to fuck that up to attack a pedophile and have them bump you up to maximum security. They ain't fucking that up like that. Sitting around watching TV every day and hanging out in dorm rooms and shit, playing table tennis and shit. They ain't trying to mess that up. Ain't nothing gonna happen to Jazane in minimum security. Ain't nobody trying to mess that ride up. He said, you know why? Yeah, I tend to think I do know why, but it is what it is. Minimum or maximum, she's in PC regardless. Whatever, but the freedoms you get in being in minimum security is shit to some people is not actually that bad. It's not, I mean, like I said, you may have your own TV and radio, all the books you want. You got freedom to move around, walk around outside on the yard. I mean, you got a lot of freedoms. It's like being locked on a college campus. It's a big difference between minimum security and maximum security. Your ass might not even come outside but an hour a day or something like that. It's a big difference. He really upgraded the quality of her life. There's no denying that. Anyhow, I do got to step away. I appreciate 140. Wow. Thank you, folks. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you for you folks who have followed. And certainly for those who have subscribed on YouTube. I will see you folks tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have a day job just like every damn body else. You guys take care, stay safe. Catch you on the next show. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I gots to go. Thank you. I don't know why that does that.